immune system booster that I, Scott Jennings, know of is Virago. Virago, it is a liquid immune enhancement supplement featuring 23 potent nutraceuticals working synergistically to enhance your immune system against assaults. Trust the design that God gave you and strengthen your body's immune system with Virago, the ultimate immune enhancement cocktail. Order it online today. Visit myvirago.com. That's myvirago.com. Use coupon code Jennings to save 30%. Myvirago.com. Coupon code Jennings saves you 30%.
Mike Lindell has a passion to help people get the best sleep of their life. He started by creating the best pillow ever, and right now he is passing the best prices to you when you use promo code LIBERTY. They want to thank you for your continued support by passing on some Christmas specials to our listeners. Get wholesale pricing on the classic My Pillows for $17.98. Transform any mattress with a My Mattress topper and save up to $100. Get a set of Giza sheets for as low as $29.98 or the 6-pack towel set for only $39.98. To get the best specials ever, go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. These offers won't last long, so call 800-489-0201 or go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY. Rest easy remembering that MyPillow products come with a 10-year warranty. Call today, 800-489-0201, promo code LIBERTY.
Have you ever engaged in conversation about your faith with a family member, a friend, or a colleague, and when challenged on an intellectual level about why you believe what you believe, you've been at a loss for a reasoned answer? The Missing Think, a treatise on origin, purpose, and God by Mark A. Vogel, was written for you, particularly if you don't have a lot of time to sit down and read a lengthy book. A short read, it'll provide you with some thoughtful insight with which to challenge the skeptics in your life with effective and practical critical thinking. It may even strengthen your own faith in God. Seen through the eyes of an inventor and product development engineer, The Missing Think draws analogies to the wonders of the world around us and connects dots to some profound practical and historical evidence for the truth of Christianity. The book is available for download by visiting Amazon.com and searching The Missing Think, Mark A. Vogel. That's Mark, the letter A, V-O-G-E-L. Again, to purchase your copy, go to Amazon.com and in the search box, type The Missing Think, Mark A. Vogel.
As a local business owner, you get called every week by marketing companies. We get it. We have hundreds of satisfied customers. Here's what a satisfied client recently said.
Open enrollment is going great. We're hitting record numbers. Thank you so much for this report. It really is amazing to see how the marketing is really shaping our enrollment around the city.
Salem Surround. Is your business hard to find online? Meet with a digital marketer today for ideas that will make your business stand out. Visit salemsurround.com.
If you listen to the mainstream media and the Democrats, you'd think it was a sin to be black and conservative. Well, John Anthony blows up that perception every week on Black and Right. Join John tomorrow afternoon at 4 when he pushes back against the left and its regressive, progressive agenda that tries to dictate how people should think or feel about politics. Listen to Black and Right tomorrow afternoon at 4, right here on AM 560. The Answer.
It's February 6th, and this is your Fox Daily Snapshot. Today is National Safer Internet Day, which promotes secure usage of online services and honors how far the World Wide Web has come. The day started in Europe in 2004 and recognized in the U.S. in 2012. Also on this date in 1935,
building hotels together and going to jail together.
The Parker Brothers board game Monopoly went on sale for the first time. Astronaut Alan Shepard becomes the first person to play golf on another planet using a modified 6-iron to hit a pair of golf balls on the moon in 1971. Born on this day in 1911, the 40th President of the United States, Ronald Reagan. He served 2 terms from 1981 to 1989. Reggae legend Bob Marley, born in 1945. I'm CJ Papa. That's your Fox Daily Snapshot.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Stay tuned for a special message from Angel Dad Joe Abraham about his daughter Katie.
Put yourself in my shoes. I just spent my first Christmas without Katie. My daughter was murdered by an illegal immigrant Governor Pritzker protected. Imagine her final breaths, knowing that you would have given your life for hers, but you didn't have the chance. Put your child in Katie's shoes. Think of the unfulfilled dreams, the unrealized joys, and the permanent loss. I'm not a political guy, but when politicians unleash violent criminals, we all need to get involved. We can do better, and we must do better. Ted Dabrowski would have protected Katie, and he'll protect your children the way I wish someone had protected mine.
I'm Ted Dabrowski, and I approve this message.
This is Sean Thompson here to tell you about an opportunity for you to promote your business and make a difference this Christmas season. I'm talking about our Food for the Poor Business Benefactor Program. We've partnered with Food for the Poor to provide life-saving food and water for thousands of children and their families over the years. Your business can be a part of this effort. Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor by making a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor. That donation will help more than 30 kids for the entire year. And when you do that, AM 560 will give you 40 one-minute commercials to air right here, Monday through Friday, from 5 in the morning till 8 in the evening, prime time. And all you have to do to take advantage of this deal is call one of the best guys there is at the company, John Gallagher. You can reach him at 847-472-8950. Once again, that's 847-472-8950, 847-472-8950, or go to 560theanswer.com/foodforthepoor.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Hello, can I have your attention, please? My name is Hugh McKenzie, and I'm a devout listener of The Answer. They have partnered with Food for the Poor consistently for the last few years. In the past, I've always wanted to participate, but unfortunately never had the extra cash at the end of the year to do so. But last weekend, I received the mail, and there was a bonus check for $2,500 from Mack Truck for selling commercial vehicles. I decided that I was all in. As I mentioned, I sell commercial vehicles. Everything from Mack, Volvo, Hino, Isuzu, new and used. I've been selling for over 30 years in the Chicagoland market. Call me at 630-918-9534 or check me out on the web. Google my name, Hugh McKenzie, and Hugh is spelled H-U-G-H, McKenzie is spelled M-C-K-E-N-T-Y. All right, thank you very much for your time.
To contact Hugh McKenzie, search Hugh McKenzie on LinkedIn or call 630-918-9534. That's 630-918-9534.
Mike Lindell has a passion to help people get the best sleep of their life. He started by creating the best pillow ever, and right now he is passing the best prices to you when you use promo code LIBERTY. They want to thank you for your continued support by passing on some Christmas specials to our listeners. Get wholesale pricing on the classic My Pillows for $17.98. Transform any mattress with a My Mattress topper and save up to $100. Get a set of Giza sheets for as low as $29.98 or the 6-pack towel set for only $39.98. To get the best specials ever, go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. These offers won't last long, so call 800-489-0201 or go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY. Rest easy remembering that MyPillow products come with a 10-year warranty. Call today, 800-489-0201, promo code LIBERTY.
Are you 65 or older and dealing with chronic knee or shoulder pain? You're not alone. At the Joint Relief Institute, we've helped thousands find real relief without surgery. Our non-surgical, FDA-approved treatment uses hyaluronic gel that acts like a cushion between the bones in your knee. As we age, the cushion naturally wears down, causing painful grinding and popping. But our gel restores that cushion, allowing your knee to move smoothly again. Ready to stop the pain and get back to doing what you love? Call the Joint Relief Institute at 708-315-6800. Again, that's 708-315-6800.
Move better, live better with JRI. Move better and live better with JRI. Contact the Joint Relief Institute today and get back to doing what you love. Call 708-315-6800 or visit jointreliefinstitute.com. Locations in Glenview, Oakbrook, and Orland Park. Call 708-315-6800. Medicare and most private insurance plans accepted. Reclaim your mobility with the Joint Relief Institute.
Is your child tackling new challenges in math this year? Working hard to get ahead of the pack? Here's the good news. There's a secret weapon. Mathnasium, the authority on math education. With over 1,000 learning centers worldwide, we know what it takes to build real confidence in math. Here's what sets us apart. Expert instructors who teach each student individually. No cookie-cutter approach. No rushing through lessons. We create customized learning plans designed specifically for your child's needs, helping them achieve their academic goals, not just this semester, but all year long. Whether they're struggling to catch up or ready to excel, our proven methods work. Kids leave Mathnasium stronger in math, more confident in the classroom, and ready to handle whatever comes next. Visit Mathnasium today and discover why parents trust us with their child's math education. Mathnasium, where kids love math.
The following advertisement includes a celebrity impersonation.
You know, nothing beats the comfort of a perfectly heated home.
And when it comes to heating your home, Air Right Heating and Cooling does it the best.
And they love our country. Beautiful people.
Air Right Heating and Cooling is fast. When your furnace breaks down, they'll fix it right away.
Just like that. Big time results. No waiting around. You get the job done right. And let's face it, who doesn't love being warm, right? It's beautiful. When it's freezing, I crank up that amazing furnace. Burn, baby, burn. Trust me, you'll say, wow, I've never felt this warm in my life.
If you like keeping your hard-earned money, then contact Air Right Heating and Cooling. Tell them AM 560 sent you, and right now you'll receive $56 off any service.
Unbelievable.
Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling today at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. Air Right Heating and Cooling. Doing it right since 1959.
The following is a paid political announcement.
This is Kevin Coyne, chairman of the DuPage County GOP. I am inviting you to our Lincoln Day dinner on Friday, February 27th at Abington Banquets in Glen Ellyn. We will feature keynote speaker and national political commentator Tudor Dixon. Enjoy an evening of camaraderie, great food, and Republican unity. Sponsorship packages are available. Purchase tickets today at DuPageGOP.com. Paid for by DuPage County Republican Central Committee.
Fearless conversations and sharp analysis of the stories that matter. It's the Erin Mullins Show, now available on the Salem Podcast Network.
In the wake of what's just occurred in Venezuela, when we look at what might be happening in Iran, when we look at some other countries who might have all of a sudden not feel as secure as they once did, I'm trying to find the downside here. I get the cheerleading because it's bloody awesome.
Subscribe today on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or at SalemPodcastNetwork.com.
As a local business owner, you get called every week by marketing companies. We get it. We have hundreds of satisfied customers. Here's what a satisfied client recently said.
Open enrollment is going great. We're hitting record numbers. Thank you so much for this report. It really is amazing to see how the marketing is really shaping our enrollment around the city.
Salem Surround. Is your business hard to find online? Meet with a digital marketer today for ideas that will make your business stand out. Visit salemsurround.com.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Today, we will see a bit of snow in the morning with accumulation ranging from a coating to an inch. The day will be mostly cloudy and breezy with a chance of freezing drizzle. This may lead to a slippery morning commute, especially in the northern regions and northwest Indiana. The high temperature will reach 37 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. And so this happened the other day. We didn't really get to it yesterday. But it's just worth taking stock of, the ever-changing media landscape. The Bezos Post cutting a third of its workers. The sword of Damocles dropped on a third of WAPO. And, of course, there is much hewing and crying about that because, as some wag observed on X, we billionaires shouldn't exist except to bail out our places of employment. That's basically the position of the left. And so the WAPO displaced were out in full force protesting. There'll be a reckoning for this. You haven't heard the last of us. I think we have.
Hey, we do. Who makes the post? We do. Who makes the post? We do. Who makes the post? We do.
Well, I regret to inform you, you don't anymore. 312-642-5600 is Chicago Morning Answers call-in and text line if you want to opine on the ever-diminishing Washington Post and, to some extent, D.C. Press Corps by extension. These there's a lot of inertia behind these legacy outlets, legacy brands, but there's perhaps more inertia than there are actually eyeballs, and that includes these appointment television shows on cable news as well, as we've talked about before. I mean, when you actually see what these ratings are, the small percentage of people, even in general, much less the sweet spot demo of 2554 for advertisers. I mean, it is such a infinitesimal percentage of the American public that gets their news from MSNBC and even obviously the dominant cable news outlet, Fox News. Now, it's belied by the fact that content from these outlets get repurposed online and so forth. So there's much more consumption of their content than just meets the eye from the Nielsen ratings. The same thing goes for radio, too. There's much more in terms of repurposing of content, podcast downloads these days versus just what Arbitron is able to capture. But David Harsanyi had a good piece on the Washington Post layoffs and, of course, the caterwauling that has followed, reminding us, in December of 2016, the Washington Post reported that Russian hackers had penetrated the U.S. electricity grid through a Vermont utility company, leaving millions without heat. The president at the time, Barack Obama, noting that he was concerned Moscow might also disrupt the counting of votes on Election Day, potentially leading to a wider conflict. That piece had some journalistic lapses, namely that it had failed to report that the laptop in question wasn't connected to the grid, so there was no way Russian malware could have crashed the system. The Post never bothered retracting the piece, instead appending one of its anodyne quote-unquote editor's notes and reporting on the subsequent completely pointless investigation it had sparked with a bad story. In the old days, journalists would probably have been more judicious moving forward after such a mistake. The Post, which had only 1 month earlier walked back a similarly alarmist piece about Putin's weak agitprop, went in a different direction, becoming a clearinghouse for the Russian collusion panic that enveloped American politics and still has some residual harm to the body politic because so many people were whipped into frenzy about it. And much like, COVIDian lockdown protocols, they can't bring themselves to admit how silly or even worse they behaved. In 2018, the Post won Pulitzer Prizes for national reporting on the fictional claim that Trump had colluded with Putin to overturn democracy. I generally don't celebrate when people lose their job, writes Harsanyi, friend of the show. As most of us know firsthand, being laid off can be a brutal experience. But the unmitigated arrogance and sense of entitlement exuded by journalists who seem to believe they have a God-given right to work no matter how much money they lose their employer or how poorly they do their job speaks to the problem more. The Post has been one of the leading culprits over the last decade in the collapse of public trust in journalism, argues Harsanyi, and there are so many examples of it. The Russian collusion, the Vermont story, I thought was a nice Vermont Power Grid story. It's a nice place to start, leading into the Russian collusion and demonstrating over and over again, and particularly in the last decade, all these would-be Woodward and Bernsteins turn out to be nothing but propagandists, and they don't care about the facts, and they don't care when they're exposed as having gotten the facts wrong. There are no real mea culpas. There's certainly no corrective action that's taken. And so now we wind up in a place where you destroy trust among your would-be customers, and that leads to removal from your would-be jobs. Chris in Rogers Park on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, I really like that Abby Phillips show at night. I mean, I know nobody watches it, but it's kind of entertaining. It's like sports. I mean, they just beat the crap out of each other. It's a whole lot of nonsense. And if you watch it at the end, they all like each other. I think they hang out. I mean, it's kind of like, the Bears and Packers. There's a big rivalry. They hate each other during the game. There might be fights during the game, but at the end, they're shaking hands, they're hugging and kissing, and everyone's paying and watching. So if you look at it as entertainment, maybe there's something there.
All right, thanks for the call, Chris. Yeah, speaking of sports, I noted the sports section is no more at the Washington Post. They had one? Harsanyi also makes this point about the Post as illustrative of the larger D.C. press corps. Another unsound journalistic practice. Reporters handpick useful partisan, quote-unquote, experts or scholars to act as opinion-writing proxies. Right? This isn't me saying it. This is just somebody I've selected to repeat my view for the purpose of providing some cover to present this information as news, as opposed to, an op-ed dressed up as a news story. One memorable example used the headline, "Vote to oust McCarthy is a warning sign for democracy, scholars say." Yeah. Excuse me. He goes on to say, to understand the activist mission of the Post, note that it fired 13 climate change reporters and one reporter whose only job was covering race disparity. You got 13 reporters on the Chicken Little beat. I mean, it's just on and on, the silliness of this approach to running a business. I mean, that's what these media outlets are. They're businesses. They have bottom line sensitivities. Even if Bezos owns you, there's a bottom line sensitivity. He will only throw so much or burn so much of his money in furtherance of this bauble he bought for status, I presume, mainly. The other point on this, well, there's many, but just on the nature of Bezos, I mentioned, we billionaires shouldn't exist except the ones that make sure we keep our phony baloney jobs. The other aspect of this is when Bezos, after Trump's victory in November of 24, said, we're going to add a little bit more viewpoint diversity on the old editorial page, and we're going to play it a little bit straighter rather than being sort of openly hostile to the president. There's a difference between afflicting the powerful, right, being a check on the powerful, and just being reflexively knee-jerk, irrespective of the facts, antagonistic towards a particular politician. Then you're just a hatchet shop, which is what they are and have been. But anyway, when Bezos wanted to pivot and made a very public statement about how things were going to pivot a bit at WAPO, you had all these neo-Marxists in the newsroom, revolt and say, basically, we're going to take down the paper. Okay, well, congratulations. You won. Here's your pink slip. Some other fun commentary. Again, people having a little bit of fun at the expense of people who are very difficult to empathize with. Seth Dillon, Babylon Bee. If your position at the Washington Post was recently eliminated, please consider applying to write for the Babylon Bee. We're seeking applicants experienced in writing fictional content presented in the tone and style of a legitimate news organization. Perfect. Exactly. Now hiring. Yeah. Continue doing what you're doing. We're just going to properly label it over here at the Babylon Bee as satire. Dan Proft, Chicago's Morning Answer.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
If you'd like a smartphone that's really smart, download the OnePlace.com app, the app that will inspire your faith daily and provide answers to the biggest questions of all. OnePlace lets you download your favorite pastor's programs and listen even offline or in airplane mode with easy connections to your Bluetooth speaker or dashboard. To download your free OnePlace app, visit the iTunes App Store or the Google Play Store for your Android device and search for OnePlace. That's OnePlace.
AM 560. The Answer.
And by the way, organizations like the Guild, the union over at the Chicago Tribune, and what's happened to the NPR Times should have gone away a decade or so ago, but for the interests of, the idle rich and big labor in Chicago. I mean, they're going the same direction. They've lost their relevancy and thus their profitability. Anywho, coming up at 5:38, a controversial visit by the Secretary of Education. Our friends at Hope Academy will discuss. 5:38. Now we check the headlines.
Good morning. It is 30 degrees here in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Stace Keene in the QC Kinetics newsroom. A 17-year-old boy is being charged as an adult in connection with a shooting that happened last November that injured 7 other teenagers. Police say Demarion Cherry opened fire following the city's tree lighting ceremony in downtown Chicago. Investigators say after the shooting, Cherry fled the scene and later robbed a 38-year-old man who identified Cherry as the suspect. Cherry was shot in the chest late last month himself. While hospitalized, police say he admitted to the November shooting. Cherry has been ordered held in jail without bond as he awaits trial. A new report says Illinois saw a 7.2% decrease in average full coverage car insurance costs in 2025. This year, Insurify projects that Illinois auto rates will increase 0.4%, which would cost drivers in the state an extra $7 for the year. This report is sponsored by King's Hawaiian Sliders. Nothing brings friends and family together on game day like delicious King's Hawaiian Sliders. Bring them to the big game table and be the real MVP. Pick up some this weekend in the bakery or deli section of your local store. Football and King's Irresistible Hawaiian Sliders. There's nothing like it.
Catch more money with leading economist Steve Moore.
I'm excited about America. I think things are going really well. I think we've turned a corner here. I think Biden economics is well behind us now. This is a miracle what's going on here. If anything, it's better than I thought it would be. So many good things can happen in the economy. Low inflation, low unemployment rate, consumer confidence up, business confidence up. All of the indicators are pointing north right now.
It's More Money, Saturday at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
If you're over 65 and struggling with knee pain, Joint Relief Institute offers a guaranteed way to treat it. It's non-surgical and often covered by Medicare and private insurance. It's JRI's Joint Arthritis Treatment, knee lubrication placement that's so accurate, it's 100% guaranteed and can relieve your knee and shoulder pain in 10 minutes or less. Book your risk-free consultation today and get back to walking, golfing, pickleball to cycling without pain or medication. Call 708-315-6800. Meet the provider, get an x-ray and joint consultation. Why wait? JRI has treated over 30,000 Chicagoans and performed over 400,000 procedures. You could be next. Over 5,000 five-star Google reviews can't be wrong.
Stop living in pain. Call the Joint Relief Institute today, 708-315-6800, or visit jointreliefinstitute.com. Locations in Glenview, Oak Brook, and Orland Park. That's 708-315-6800 for the Joint Relief Institute. Medicare and most private insurance plans accepted.
Ad paid for by Anthem Tax Services. Attention! If you or your business is behind in filing your tax returns, or if you owe over $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS, please listen carefully. The IRS does not joke around and will not stop their collection efforts. If you're tired of the IRS letters, levies, liens, or wage garnishments and would like to get a fresh start, we can help. Due to the financial hardships in the country, the IRS is making it easier than ever to settle tax problems for those who owe more than $10,000. We can help settle your delinquent tax problems, end all collections, and may even reduce your back taxes significantly. Even if you can't afford to pay your back taxes, you can still get the help you need. We've helped thousands of taxpayers just like you, but you must call 800-978-5309 today to stop your tax problem from getting worse. The information is free, and the help is real. Call 800-978-5309. That's 800-978-5309. Again, 800-978-5309.
If stairs in your home are becoming difficult, there's a practical solution, and it doesn't have to come with pushy salespeople. Access provides dependable stair lifts designed to help you stay safely in the home you love. No gimmicks, no overselling, just honest guidance, quality equipment, and professional local installation. We'll explain your options, work within your budget, and let you decide what's right at your pace. For a straightforward, no pressure, free in-home consultation, call 630-616-6249 or visit allaboutaccess.com.
File your taxes for free with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. Just file on your own in the Credit Karma app by February 28th. Valid for those who didn't file with TurboTax last year.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Today, we will see a bit of snow this morning with accumulation ranging from a coating to an inch. The day will be mostly cloudy and breezy with a chance of freezing drizzle. This could lead to a slippery morning commute, especially in the northern regions and in northwest Indiana. The high temperature will reach 37 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. On February 24th, President Trump will deliver his State of the Union address to Congress. At AM 560 The Answer is throwing a viewing party. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/party.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. A postscript on our WAPO discussion. Text from Amish texture. I sure hope those WAPO Sims can learn to code or get some of those great green energy jobs that Biden told us serves to get when he canceled the Keystone XL pipeline. Yeah. Telling the West Virginia coal miners to learn how to code. Another great moment in Bidenism. Something else, too, Texter. A couple days behind, he tells me, because of his work schedule, 312. So he listens to the podcast. He has a late submission to this team effort that has been underway here to come up with a male analog to awful or rawful, angry, white, female leftist, awful, which we take great credit in the show for at least helping to popularize. So we want to come up with a male, in the interest of fairness and even-handedness, we want to come up with a male analog. And so his offering, which I do like, MILFs. Male impersonator lacking facts. Nice spin on that acronym. And I have actually compiled like a first cut, if you will. So, let me run through these real quick so we can get some people starting to weigh in, maybe some last-minute submissions. We'll still take those. See if we can, crowdsource this into a final 2 or 3 that we will then select, because we have to get busy popularizing it. That's what this show does. Okay, we have Nails. Neutered, angry, ignorant leftist soy boys. Nails. Hymns. Honky, impotent males. Geld, or Gelds. Gender emasculated liberal dude. There's 2 Geld offerings, so stay. Gender emasculated liberal dude, or grating elitist limp dong. And as I mentioned earlier in the week, I'm definitely partial to any acronym that involves the word dong, as any God-fearing American would be. Okay, so that's Gelds. Smugs. Self-righteous, mansplaining urban guys. Smugs. Viles. V-I-L-E. violent, illogical leftist eunuchs. Okay. Whammies. No whammies, no whammies. You know, calls to mind Press Your Luck. So it's a nice cultural reference, too. Woke, angry male impersonators. Not bad. Clams. Cuck, leftist, angry male. Or, 2 clams, too. Caucasian, liberal, affluent male. Flabbies. Flaccid, leftist, angry boy. Flab, and then plural flabbies. Flaccid, leftist, angry boy, flabby. And then flames. It's a little long, but, offer for consideration. Flames, female, liberal, adjacent, male eunuchs. There's a lot there. Almost, it was a haiku. It was almost a 575 haiku there. That's how long that was. All right, so those are what my first cut from all that we got earlier in the week. So feel free to weigh in with your support for one of those, or, as I said, a last-minute offering. 312-642-5600 is how you give us a call or shoot us a text. Moving to the story I mentioned before the news. Linda McMahon, she is the Secretary of Education, don't you know? She was in town yesterday in Chicago at our friend's place, Ike Muzikowski family, Chicago Hope Academy on the near west side. She's done an incredible job educating and proving the CPS model wrong, educating black kids from the same neighborhoods that CPS has neighborhood schools, but they're getting very different results at Hope Academy than they are at the CPS schools. A chasm between the academic achievement, what Hope Academy is able to do in preparing these young black kids to college and beyond, successful lives, as opposed to what's happening at CPS. Anyway, Linda McMahon there. Not for any policy rollout in particular, but to promote history in this 250th year of our country's existence. And it was very controversial. Why? Because it's Trump. That's why. Even having the Secretary of Education come to town to promote history and kids learning the history of this country, basic civics, understanding of our founding documents, the vision for this free society, the great American experiment. Very controversial. At least that's how ABC7 and every other outlet, because they share a brain, that's how they covered it. History rocks. Linda McMahon throwing out T-shirts, WWE style. Parents are very concerned.
The whole purpose of this is to really instill the fact that, education is fun. A lot of history to know, how important it is, within our country to know about our civics and about our Constitution, about the Declaration of Independence.
Given the Trump administration's dismantling of the Department of Education, today's visit prompting some concerns from a handful of parents at Chicago Hope Academy. About half the students opted out of the program.
Not every student felt like this was the best program to participate in, or didn't feel like they'd feel as comfortable being part of it.
That's Ike Muzikowski, the principal.
I think it's a great learning experience for our community.
The assembly stuck to talk about history, politics on pause.
I'm glad to have gone through the process of how rapidly we jumped to politicize it internally ourselves and received a ton of the finger pointing about how politicized this is. And we are making a statement. We're saying, hey, no, this is about education.
Secretary McMahon saying these visits are nonpartisan.
I think once it's understood that this is just bringing civics and history to life, it is not teaching curriculum, it is just actually answering questions that have history as the source.
And I think our kids left an incredible impression. And as she was leaving, we gave her a scarf that says "Hope in Every Season," and we hope the experience she's had here, she can remember that and and be encouraged.
In the coming days, the principal expects to have further conversations with the school community, and while he says he may not always have all the right answers, he believes hosting the secretary was the right thing to do.
So controversial to host the Secretary of Education and have a little practicum about American history. Profile your school, particularly a school that relies on private support because it doesn't get taxpayer funds. And thanks to the powers that be in Illinois, it doesn't get the same level of scholarship funds it used to get because of the elimination of the tax credit scholarship program, which was also private money, just incentivized private money that would flow to schools like Chicago Hope Academy. Oh, and, pay no mind to the fact that they're doing it right and they're getting results for the marginalized population that the powers that be carry on about endlessly. It's astounding to call it. It's astounding that this was controversial, that half the parents opted their kids out of the program. What are you thinking? What are those parents thinking? And yet, when the tax credit scholarship program was taken away by Jelly Belly and Chris Welch, when did he stop eating his ex-girlfriend? I don't know. When that was taken away, barely a blip. The other side it will, protest anything that is 6 degrees from President Trump at the drop of a hat. Organized, students activated, parents supportive, deferring to the leadership qualities and belief systems of, they're the educators. And I'm not saying that you should be deferential. I wish that CPS parents were less deferential than they are. And so Chicago Hope Academy parents, you want to be involved and you want to know and you want to have input. Great. But I mean, this is really your thinking? Putting like the cheap politics that pollutes this culture in Chicago and by extension Illinois ahead of what's best for the future of that school that your kids are fortunate enough to be able to attend. And I'm sure you feel that way. You're going to put the Mazikowski family in a box after all that family has done with that school for your kids? What the hell's wrong with you? It's such a saddening lack of gratitude and appreciation. So the people that talk about what the Mazikowskis actually do, they're the ones we should listen to. And the people that actually do what the Mazikowskis do, they're the ones we should give a hard time. I mean, could anything be more upside down? More asinine? And the Mazikowskis are too nice to say it. And also they don't want to create more controversy than is already being generated by, whatever leftist parents and outside agitators, the teachers unions and so forth. So they have their eye on the best interests of the school and by extension, all those kids that do get educated and get out. Meanwhile, perfect juxtaposition, Rosanna Dana Rodriguez Sanchez, one of the out and proud Marxists on the city council, 33rd Ward Alderhuman. She ended the Mel dynasty. One of those people I point to when I try to explain to people who have been in the city forever and still can't figure out how Brandon Johnson won. There was no way. And when I told him Brandon Johnson was going to win, it's like, you're out of your mind. You don't know what you're talking about. You live in Florida. You're a suburban guy. You're not a city guy. You grew up and went to, whatever, St. Pat's or Mount Carmel or blah, blah, blah. Okay. Let me just explain something to you. 33rd Ward, it went from Dick Mel to his lesbian daughter to Rosanna Dana Rodriguez Sanchez. Took out The city you think of is, you have it frozen in time in your mind. It's not that city anymore. The people you think are here are not here anymore. So what's Rosanna Dana Rodriguez Sanchez out doing? Or Rodriguez? What's it? Rosanna Rodriguez Sanchez? What did I say? Rosanna Dana Rodriguez Sanchez, the Marxist. She is out with kids walking out of CPS schools to protest ICE.
We are raising the society that we are going to have in a decade, maybe before, and it looks beautiful. Here are the Amazon babies!
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the vaunted Mel machine from a bygone era taken out by a theater major from Puerto Rico whose father was a Marxist activist, and so is she. Rosanna Dana Rodriguez Sanchez. You may remember her from such moments of bringing the city together, because that's what identitarians do, as this X post. What's the best way to honor Italian heritage in Chicago? Here were her 4 choices. Italian ICE monument, Bialetti monument, Columbus statue, other. And then, it got to her fellow travelers posting things like, how about free beef sandwich day? Because that's, a fun cartoonish caricature of Italian Americans in Chicagoland. And what did Italian Americans do about it? And all these, cultural and heritage associations they have, all these big rough and tumble guys. The same thing they did about Triple Threat taking the Columbus statue down. Nothing. Bitched about it a little bit. That's it. We're going to do anything about it? No. They're going to fold into supporting this paradigm that produces people like Rosanna Dana Rodriguez Sanchez? Yes, they will. George, Naperville.
Yes, Stan, I'm shocked. Why was there no CPS teacher walkout in protest of the visit of the Secretary of Education?
They were too busy protesting ICE, as you could see there with Rosanna Dana Rodriguez Sanchez and the kids. Good times. David in Winnetka.
Good morning, Dan. I've got a late entry here. We have WIMPs, white infuriated missing penis socialists.
WIMPs, white infuriated missing penises. Is that what you said? Missing penises.
Missing penis socialists.
Meaning missing penis socialists. WIMPs. Okay. All right. Thanks, David. The other David in Racine, Wisconsin.
Greetings and salutations.
Oh, yes.
Mine is CD Sam, Charlie, Delta, Sierra, Alpha, Mike. That is for Confection, Derriere, Seditious American Marxist.
Confection, Derriere, candy ass. Seditious
American Marxist.
Okay. All right. Thanks, David. Appreciate it. Text from 708. Keynes, conflict avoiders in self-deception. Okay. All right. I think I saw that one before. All right. All right. Some late entrants. We'll continue to pour over them. And again, please submit your support or a last-minute entrance so that we can... Okay, worm, woke, obnoxious, repulsive male. Lass, let's see, hold on, Lass. Leftist, awful, support, simps. Okay, all right. Not bad, you're trying to have a certain flow to them, and it's sort of like an awful construct, so you have to think maybe awfuls and blank. I'm going to play the password game here, but awfuls and blank. All right. By the way, just one more. Rosanna Dana Rodriguez Sanchez. They can take such hostile positions against, in an identitarian fashion, against so many communities in Chicagoland without consequence.
The measure's lead sponsor, Alderwoman Rosanna Rodriguez, overcome with emotion.
We are a city council, but we also know that what we say here in Chicago matters.
It doesn't, actually. Nobody knows who you are except in the 33rd Ward. But that was her description of her pro-Hamas resolution that she sponsored after the October 7 terrorist attack. Remember when it was very important for the city council to weigh in. And you had a couple of Jewish members of the city council protest. But will that, like the Italians, will that have them divesting from the current paradigm? Will that have them thinking differently about the full range of issues that impact quality of life or the lack of quality in life in Chicago? No, it will not. Chicago Hope Academy, that's who we have to give the hard time to. Dan Proft, Chicago's Morning Answer.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
At AlmostFreeTeeth.com, they're dedicated to making smiles great again. If you have medical PPO insurance, find out how you could save 90% off on average to get a beautiful dental implant-supported smile. Check if you qualify right now at AlmostFreeTeeth.com.
Did you know a will alone does not keep your family out of court when you die? The court still has to approve your will. But get a living trust, and your estate can be settled clearly without issue. Talk to the attorneys at Nauman & Associates. They prepare wills and trusts for a flat fee, no surprises, no hourly rate. With decades of experience, they know the law and offer a free consultation. Contact Nauman & Associates in Elk Grove Village, nalawgroup.com. Call 847-593-8777.
Sign up for the AM 560 Answer Advantage to get early alerts on event ticket sales, special discounts, and contest opportunities. Sign up today at 560theanswer.com/advantage.
Business owners, now's the time for your business to make the move to a locally owned business bank. Hi, Mike Gallagher here to let you know that you don't have to look far. Signature Bank was founded in Chicago with a simple mission to help companies like yours grow, succeed, and thrive. Their decisions are made locally by a terrific team that knows your name, cares about your business, and invests in your success. That's why Signature Bank is my bank. I'm a customer. As business owners, they knew that local family-owned businesses were not getting the help they needed or deserved. So I invite you to reach out to my friends at Signature Bank today. Write the number down. Remember this phone number, Signature Bank, 773-467-5630, and learn all about this great bank, 773-467-5630, or visit them online at signaturebank.bank. That's signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank makes commercial banking personal. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
This is Albert Mohler for townhall.com. Don Lemon, the former CNN host, has been arrested over the recent invasion of City's Church in St. Paul, Minnesota. There are massive religious liberty and constitutional issues at stake. What we witnessed was a political mob invading an evangelical church at worship. It was grotesquely and morally wrong. It was also illegal. There is no constitutional right to go into a place of worship and interrupt it for political protest, period. And what about Don Lemon? He was central to the story from the beginning. His own comments indicate that he was egging the entire process on. He went with the invading group into the church and became a part of the interruption. My main concern is with the integrity of Christian worship. For the court, constitutional issues will be paramount. What's at stake here is the freedom of a gospel congregation to worship according to its own convictions and to declare the gospel without fear of interference.
Sign up to become an AM 560 Advantage member at 560theanswer.com. News, opinion, insight. This is AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago. Streaming at 560theanswer.com on the AM 560 mobile app, or tell your smart speaker to play The Answer Chicago.
Another plea to the kidnapper. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
This is Cameron Guthrie. I'm speaking for the Guthrie family. Whoever is out there holding our mother, we want to hear from you. We haven't heard anything directly.
And one of the deadlines in those reported ransom notes is passed. It's day 6 of the search for Nancy Guthrie, kidnapped over the weekend from her Tucson, Arizona home. Fox's Alicia Cunha is outside it.
Authorities in that news conference yesterday did not indicate that they are any closer to finding Nancy Guthrie. The FBI said that they are taking the ransom note sent to TMZ and local TV stations in Tucson seriously, that it came with 2 deadlines, one that passed yesterday at 5 p.m. and then a final one this Monday. The FBI says the note does not give them or the family a way to communicate with whoever sent it either. But it did reference the location of Nancy's Apple Watch and a damaged light.
The U.S. and Iran are holding talks today, indirectly brokered in Oman by the foreign minister of that country, with American Navy ships in the region following President Trump's threats to attack again during Iran's deadly crackdown on protests. Fox's Doug Luzader reports.
Now, Iran sees these talks as limited to the country's nuclear program that was already hit during last year's U.S. military strikes known as Midnight Hammer. The U.S., though, led by Mideast envoy Steve Witkoff, is pressing for more, going after Iran's missile program and its extensive network of proxy groups throughout the Middle East. And just yesterday, Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps seized 2 oil tankers in the Persian Gulf.
The U.S. military blew up another alleged drug boat.
U.S. Southern Command says the boat was engaged in narco-trafficking operations as it transited the Eastern Pacific. A video posted on social media shows the vessel moving through the water before exploding in flames. We're told 2 people died. That means 128 suspected drug traffickers have been killed since early September.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It's 30 degrees here in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Stace Keene in the QC Kinetics newsroom. A 9-year-old Chicago boy is severely burned for trying a resurfaced TikTok trend. Fox's Gary Baumgarten has more.
The boy's face was roasted and his right eye was swollen shut when his Nido sensory toy exploded in his face when he left it in the microwave. The trend, popularized on the social media site, is supposed to make the rubber toy more flexible. The burns are expected to leave permanent scars. Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
A proposal backed by Illinois Democrats to expand voter registration opportunities for high school students is raising concerns among some parents and education advocates who argue that the measure could add strain to an already overburdened school system and open the door to partisan influence. Katrina Barker has the story.
The Jesse Jackson Senior Young Voter Empowerment Law would require public high schools to offer voter registration to eligible students before graduation, a move supporters say would boost civic engagement. But Marsha McClary, chair of Moms for Liberty Lake County, warned that the proposal could burden schools and duplicate existing state programs. Illinois already allows 16 and 17-year-olds to pre-register to vote through the Secretary of State's office when obtaining a driver's license or state ID. McClary said most students will already have encountered voter registration through that process, making the new mandate largely redundant.
We'll have had that interaction.
I'm Katrina Barker.
News is the service of the Will County Freedom Caucus. Celebrate America's 250th birthday on February 15th at Crystal Grand Ballroom in Lamont. Hear U.S. Senate candidate Don Tracy and gubernatorial candidates Darren Bailey, James Mindrick, and Ted Dabrowski. Get your tickets today at willcountyfreedom.com. A check of the roads is coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
On February 24th, President Trump will deliver his State of the Union address to Congress.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
And AM 560 The Answer is throwing a viewing party, and you're invited to join us for dinner at the Meridian Banquets and Conference Center in Rolling Meadows. Enjoy dinner before the speech, and then watch the speech with AM 560's Dan Proft, Sean Thompson, Jeannie Ives, Amy Jacobson, and John Anthony. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/party. Sponsored in part by Stephen A. Leahy with Opum Tax Advocates.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something, something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-809-7171. That's 800-809-7171.
Progressive Commercial knows truckers can expect the unexpected when driving, but a little heads up like this would still be nice.
Hey there, Big Rig. I'm driving the hatchback ahead of you. Heads up, at the next light, I'm going to stop right in the middle of both lanes, and you won't know if I'm taking a right or going straight. You know what? Me neither. Over.
Be ready for the unexpected and save on the protection you need with personalized discounts. Get a quote in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, covered subject to terms and limits. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
If you're over 40 and plan to retire someday, the window to protect what you've built may be smaller than you realize. As retirement moves from someday to on the horizon, protecting what you've built becomes just as important as growing it. And that's where Noble Gold Investments comes in. They help investors reduce risk by adding gold and silver to their portfolios. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com, noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult with your tax or financial professional before making investment decisions.
When you can no longer handle your own home, Hearthstone Assisted Living at the Lutheran Home in Arlington Heights is here to help make life easier. Experience upscale living with comprehensive health services. We offer fine dining, engaging activities, available chaplains, weekly worship services, and quality amenities including a bistro, expansive library, and general store. For a limited time, mention WYLL for an additional discount. Call 847-595-5024 or visit LutheranLifeCommunities.org.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Sue Aller. What a mess on the Kennedy this morning. Inbound at Mannheim Road, you do have an accident. It's off on the right shoulder, but it's the express lanes that are really going to slow you down. You have an accident inbound right at Division Street, but then just after that at Ohio Street, there's another collision. So starting off, not a good ride at all. And we also have lots of traffic already on the northbound side of Lakeshore Drive between Bryn Mawr Avenue and Hollywood Avenue. No major slowdowns on the Edens. The Eisenhower is 14 minutes both ways from Wolfville Post Office, the Stevenson, and the Dan Ryan. You're in okay shape. News is a service of the Will County Freedom Caucus. Celebrate America's 250th birthday on February 15th at Crystal Grand Ballroom in Lamont. For U.S. Senate candidate Don Tracy and gubernatorial candidates Darren Bailey, James Mendrick, and Ted Dabrowski. Get your tickets today at willcountyfreedom.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Now the latest forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Today we will see a bit of snow this morning with accumulation ranging from a coating to an inch. The day will be mostly cloudy and breezy with a chance of freezing drizzle. This could lead to a slippery morning commute, especially in the northern regions and in northwest Indiana. The high temperature will reach 37 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. We got to get into some tragedies that have occurred because of open borders, yet another one, as well as some arrests that have been made in response to the professional agitators, particularly in what was formerly known as Minneapolis. But just something on this mail analog that we're all working together to develop so that we can popularize it. So a couple things just on the creative process. I don't want to make this a technical workshop, but just a couple of things on the creative process as you're thinking about pithy acronyms and how to fill them in. So one, it's got to go with awfuls. It's got to be a tandem that just rolls from the tongue, I think. Like a Captain and Tennille, a Tango and Cash, a Cisco and Poncho, an Ashford and Simpson, a Peaches and Herb. You picking up what I'm laying down? Awfuls and then the acronym, like awful, needs to be conveying something about the group, right? Awful, angry, white, female leftist. That it's descriptive of both the acronym, in addition to, of course, the words that form it are descriptive. The acronym descriptive of the group. All right. I mean, just thinking about that. All right, a couple more here. Sorry's Sack often retracted yes man. Okay. I mean, it's creative and descriptive. Worms, whipped over-educated radical men. Yeah, 224. Sorry's is a 773. A vote for Geld from 763. One more. Oh, wait, I got two. Merce, male urban radical socialist elitist. Okay. One more here. Because somebody's, at least on my wavelength. Liberal couple, leftist couple, Marxist couple, would be an awful and a weak. Awful and weak. The weak, we know what awful is. Weak. White, equally awful cucks. Boy, see, you're right neighborhood, wrong address, I'd say on that one. Okay, all right. I mean, I love the interest in this. Matt, Southside, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, Dan, good morning. Hey, taking from the mega and working off of MAGA, I think they should be called WAMA, waste of male appendages.
Okay, thanks for that, Matt. All right, yeah. 847, again, another artist, detail-oriented artist, needs male. The male has to be part of the acronym. Suggests 847. I agree. Yeah, I agree. Angry white female leftist. It's that analog, and that symmetry, and the role. Tubbs and Crockett. You know what I'm saying? Okay. On to slightly more serious matters, and, very much more serious matters, in fact. Another preventable crime. It's terrible. Next door to us, if we look east, Indiana. Here's a headline. A Kyrgyzstani illegal kills 4 Amish. Talk about an only in America. The Kyrgyzstani truck driver in the country illegally got his CDL in Pennsylvania, entered via the Biden-era CBP-1 app, paroled into the country. That's just a fancy way of saying open borders. Came into the country with a slap on his back from Team Biden in December of 2023 at the Nogales, Arizona port of entry. He killed 4 men when he lost control of his rig and hit a van that had 4 Amish men in it, and a driver. The driver was driving these Amish men to their job and back. And I guess the last I saw reporting here, the driver was in surgery, and his condition was not specified. A 50-year-old, 25-year-old, 19-year-old, 23-year-old. Dead. Kyrgyzstani, illegal in the country. And, and it calls to mind this attention that we've talked about before, that was after you had a bunch of these Indian nationals in this country illegally, from California to Florida, obtaining CDLs illicitly and getting in crashes. The and famously the one in Florida, who tried to do a U-turn on an interstate, and a car crashed into the truck, and I think it was 3 Haitian migrants who were killed. Can I just remind everyone what Tom Homan said? We played it yesterday on Laura Ingraham the other night in terms of what the story should be. You want to hear a story? You want to pound and pound and pound on what the real story is here with respect to immigration and immigration law enforcement?
Why don't you show the funeral of Rachel Morin? Why don't you listen to the 19 minutes of Laken Riley fighting for her life? Not that she was, murdered, that for 19 minutes she fought for every breath, fought to survive. How terrified these young women were to be raped and murdered. How about that? How about we educate these children on President Trump making this country safe again? How about we educate the children on the last administration? 500,000 children were smuggled in this country. They lost track of 300,000 of them, and President Trump found 145,000 of them. 145,000 children that the last administration wasn't even looking for. Why don't we talk about the 250,000 Americans died from fentanyl across that open border? Why don't we talk about the record number of known suspected terrorists across that border, or the historic increase in sex trafficking in women and children? Let's talk about that. President Trump's saving lives every day. The border is the most secure we have in the history of this nation. Less women are being raped. Less people are dying making that journey, and this country's safe again. Let's tell that story.
Yeah. And unfortunately, the body count continues to pile up. Just a little bit more on the specifics here. The driver from Kyrgyzstan failed to stop for traffic, swerved into the left lane, collided head-on with a Chevy van driven by a gentleman named Donald Stipp, who was transporting these 4 Amish men. It was a father and 2 sons, his 2 sons, and a family friend. The father, 50-year-old, his 2 sons, 25 and 19, and a family friend, 23, dead in Jay County, Indiana. 312-642-5600 if you want to give us a call or a text on this topic. Caroline Levitt had something to say about it from the lectern yesterday.
This is another abhorrent example of the border crisis over the past 4 years, and it again exemplifies why the administration must continue and will always continue to fully back and support ICE and Border Patrol and law enforcement in their removal of illegal alien criminals from our country. For those who don't know, and all of you should report on it, 4 Americans were tragically killed and lost their lives this week yet again from an illegal alien, an individual who was paroled into the country by the Biden administration using the CBP-1 app, which they created like it was a magic pass for Disneyland. That's not how immigration in this country should work. And this illegal alien from Kyrgyzstan was traveling on an Indiana highway, and he failed to brake for a slowed semi-truck in front of him. He swerved into the lane, and he crashed into a van carrying 15 passengers, and 4 people were killed in that crash. This is another tragedy that could have been prevented if not for the wide open borders from the previous administration. That's why we now have a secure border. That's why this administration will continue to deport illegal aliens from our country.
And by the way, in Minnesota, White House put this out this week too, Operation Metro Surge, which has been the subject of obviously such widespread criticism. More than 4,000 criminal illegals have been removed from Minnesota. Don't have the breakdown on the the categories of crimes committed by the people removed, but 4,000 people here illegally. And those writ large of the 700,000 deported, Tom Homan reiterated again, 70% have committed a crime in addition to breaking into the country. So what does that all mean, all that data? It means you're less likely to have 4 gentlemen going to and from work killed by somebody who shouldn't be in this country. And by the way, shouldn't have a CDL license. So going back to when we were discussing that several weeks ago when there was an incidence of these crashes, one after the other for a couple of weeks, we revisit this, talking about the benefits fraud. The fraud in CDL systems in these sanctuary states in particular, not limited to, but because Pennsylvania is not a sanctuary state where he apparently obtained his CDL, but and illegally because he's here illegal. There needs to be constant pressure on this. For Illinois, there's another area of prosecution against this administration. I'm talking about Jelly Belly and all of his sycophants in constitutional offices at the statewide level and in the supermajorities in the General Assembly. Where's Ali G? Get Ali G on the job. He wants to be somebody someday. What's your handle on CDL fraud in the state of Illinois? Or is it going to take something like what happened in Indiana this week before people pay attention? Simple question. How many people have to be killed or seriously injured by people in this country illegally and illegally procuring licenses and benefits before that's a thing? Before you find that problematic? Some enterprising candidates for office in the state might want to make that point. Because I think there's a lot of commonsensical people who don't necessarily affiliate with the Republican Party who would be nodding their head saying, yeah, that's a good question. Because it is a good question. 312-642-5600 is our call-in and text line. Something else, just in terms of the arrests, since there's so much attention on these people. Another question. These are the sorts of people you want to affiliate yourself with? All you awfuls? You dingbats out there who don't know up from down and just go wherever the anti-Trump zeitgeist is? Make a fool of yourself in the process? Antifa Kyle has been arrested. Antifa Kyle in Minnesota, right up there with Da Woke Farmer. Antifa Kyle is a little bit more aggressive.
My name is Kyle. I'm Antifa, and there's so much rage in me that I've had to record this like 15 times trying to get the message out. They f***ed up, okay? Go watch my other videos. Doesn't matter if you're not here and you're not caught up. You missed the f***ing fight. But if you are, it's time to suit up. Boots on the ground. Nicollet and f***ing 26th. My house is 4 blocks away. Anywhere between Franklin and Nicollet and 26th and Nicollet. Show up, ready to go. Okay? Not talking about peaceful protests anymore. We're not talking about having polite conversations anymore. I am talking specifically to my followers. This is everything I have talked about, and this is exactly what I said was going to happen. This is exactly what I said was going to come when we didn't go and march on Whipple with guns. Sorry, but welcome to America 2026, where Second Amendment is the only thing that's going to keep you protected from literal Nazi gunmen that are killing innocent people in the street with impunity. This is not a joke. There's nothing fun to chant about it. Get your guns and stop these people.
Get your guns and stop these people. And that's Kyle is a complete mess, as you would understand. By the way, I thought Antifa was just an idea. It's just a thought. It's not a thing. It's not you don't join Antifa. It's just a state of mind. It's being Antifa. Wasn't that the argument from the previous regime? Anyway, Antifa Kyle is now under arrest by the feds for promoting the killing of ICE agents, exhorting others to take their guns and take them out. This guy is like he's posted all sorts of weird things. I think he's gay now. He was some sort of transvestite performer before, and now he's Antifa, and he's going to take out the Nazi gunman in Minneapolis. A much more demure example, but no less demented, is Notoriously Lizzie. She has also been arrested. Antifa Kyle and Notoriously Lizzie, along with Da Woke Farmer. That's who these ghastly suburban awfuls are aligned with, and they don't even appreciate it because they're useful idiots. And so are these people, useful idiots. Notoriously, Lizzie has been arrested. She has been posting, too, she posts, like, in a gas mask, and she's got the F Ice song going in the background. You know, she's doing her performance art and so on and so forth. Well, she apparently took her performance art to the street and crossed the line because she posted this about having to face some legal consequences that she just couldn't anticipate, and she's a little distraught about it.
Today is Monday, February 2nd, 2026, and I'm coming at you with some news that I really did not want to have to come to you with, which is I just received a call from a lawyer telling me that the federal government is going to charge me. And my options were to A, turn myself in tomorrow morning, which will be the 3rd of February, or wait for them to serve a warrant and knock down my door. So tomorrow I'm being charged with 18-USC-111. I don't know much information other than that. I have to turn myself in the morning. Clearly I've been crying. Here's what I will say. I'm so incredibly grateful for community and who have reached out and who are trying to help get lawyers and advocacy and help me scrub the internet. I will tell you that there's going to be a different page that is active. I'm going to have to take this page private, but you can find out more information at Notoriously Lizzie. There is a link in my bio to get you connected to that. I have a friend that's going to be running that and updating it with information in case they do not let me out tomorrow. There's also a GoFundMe on there for my friend and I. Currently, right now, I'm the only one who has received charges. We just don't know how that's going to look moving forward. But please share this. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. I mean, there are people disappearing. There are people not being returned. This feels very retaliatory. And so continue to share what is happening. Sorry, I don't have a lot of but I'm kind of in shock crisis mode right now. Please follow the other page. Again, that's Notoriously Lizzie, and that will be ran by a friend. They'll be answering any questions or DMs, but there's also the GoFundMe, and thank you for being here with me. May the odds be ever in our favor.
Bye-bye, Notoriously Lizzie. We'll miss you terribly. Text was 7763. Please state again where the list of illegal alien atrocities can be found downloaded. Well, again, DHS is doing a better job, but it's not as good a job as they should be doing, in my view, with the numbers that Tom Homan is talking about. But DHS.gov/wow. WOW, an acronym for worst of the worst. DHS.gov/wow if you want to peruse, and you can search by state and so forth. There's a lot there. By the way, a related story. The Nation, which is a leftist rag, has nominated the people of Minnesota for a Nobel Peace Prize. So Antifa Kyle and Notoriously Lizzie, DeWoke Farmer, they could be Nobel Peace Prize recipients next year. Sure. Maria Corina Machado, Antifa Kyle, mentioned in the same sentence, belonging to that exclusive group. Good Lord, when do the layoffs at the Nation start? Brian, St. John, Indiana.
Good morning and happy Friday. So the kids in rural Kokomo, Indiana, allegedly had participated in that ICE walkout earlier this week. It would have been nice if they would have been a little bit more concerned about their neighbors an hour or two east in Jay County. That's all I got. Bye.
Thanks for the call, Brian. Yeah, and it'd be nice if some parents, as well as students, went back and challenged their fellow parents and students and teachers and administrators. What do people have to say about that Amish dad and his two sons and family friend that were just killed by somebody who shouldn't have been on the roads and shouldn't have been in this country? Anything to say on that? Just what Tom Homan said on Laura Ingram's program. Do you want to go back and talk about what happened to Laken Riley or Rachel Morin, Katie Abraham? you want to say their names. You want them to be remembered, right? We're going to obsess about and deify Alex Preddy and Renee Good, George Floyd. I mean, again, we talked about this with the George Floyd stuff. Boy, what a society extols, it begets. You martyrize George Floyd, and you're going to beget more of it. You martyrize these, I'm sorry they're dead, but these agitators, people with no sense of judgment and propriety, people cross the line. And you dismiss and stay silent when people who play by the rules in this country are preyed upon. Well, that's what you're going to get more of. So maybe that's a discussion that should be had in schools. What do we want to see more of in our community, in our society? The Amish gentleman and the guy who was driving them to and from work, playing by the rules? Or Antifa Kyle and Notoriously Lizzie and all of these other faux patriots, faux martyrs, faux freedom fighters, faux of Shiite. Dan Proft, Chicago's Morning Answer.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
When someone you love is living with memory loss, finding the right care isn't just important, it's everything. At Terra Vista of Oak Brook Terrace, memory care isn't an add-on, it's all we do.
When Mom moved into Terra Vista, everything changed. She's safe, engaged, and surrounded by people who truly understand dementia. And I finally get to just be her daughter again.
Terra Vista was built specifically for caring for those with Alzheimer's and other types of dementia, with secure indoor and outdoor spaces, innovative therapies, and a community that feels like home. Residents stay active, connected, and respected every single day.
And the best part? Mom can live with dignity, and I have peace of mind.
If memory care is in your future, choose the community designed for it. Choose Terra Vista of Oak Brook Terrace. Schedule a tour today at terravista.org. Again, that's terravista.org, and tell them AM 560 sent you. Terra Vista, where memory care lives.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-809-7171. That's 800-809-7171.
Progressive Commercial knows truckers can expect the unexpected when driving, but a little heads up like this would still be nice.
Hey there, big rig. I'm driving the hatchback ahead of you. Heads up, at the next light, I'm going to stop right in the middle of both lanes, and you won't know if I'm taking a right or going straight. You know what? Me neither. Over.
Be ready for the unexpected and save on the protection you need with personalized discounts. Get a quote in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Covered subject to terms and limits. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up at 6:36, the Scott Besson Show moves over to the Senate. We'll start there. It's now time to check the headlines.
Good morning. It is 31 degrees here in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Stace Keene in the QC Kinetics newsroom. More charges have been brought against a former Catholic school teacher. According to reports, a lawsuit has been filed by the mother of a boy that she says was groomed and touched inappropriately by 43-year-old Brett Smith. Smith's attorney issued a statement calling the suit a shakedown of the archdiocese, noting that neither the church nor Smith had committed any wrongdoing. Cook County Crime Stoppers is offering a reward of up to $10,000 for information leading to the indictment or arrest of the gunman responsible for the fatal shooting of a woman in Chicago on Wednesday afternoon. Gabrielle Ayers died from injuries that she suffered after several individuals approached the vehicle she was in and opened fire. A second person was injured in that incident, but a baby inside the car was not struck. Anonymous tips can be submitted online by calling 1-800-535-STOP. This news is a service of the Will County Freedom Caucus. Celebrate America's 250th birthday on February 15th at the Crystal Grand Ballroom in Lamont. Hear U.S. Senate candidate Don Tracy and gubernatorial candidates Darren Bailey, James Mindrick, and Ted Dabrowski. Get your tickets today at willcountyfreedom.com. A check of the roads is coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560, The Answer.
Your home is a valuable asset, and you want to take care of your home. From roofs, siding, windows, and doors to furnaces, flooring, landscaping, and much more. Listen to your go-to for all things home. It's Home Answers Radio every Sunday morning at 9. Sponsored in part by JeffBuysYourHouse.com and by Center Guard Plumbing. Get answers from industry experts so you can make informed decisions about your home improvement. Right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Attention investors, this affects you. Silver prices are exploding, with silver exceeding $100 a troy ounce for the first time. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000 to get our free gold and silver investment guide. Plus, you'll also receive a free copy of economist Ken Rogoff's book, Our Dollar, Your Problem, when you call now. Here's why it matters. Silver is a high liquidity, tangible, and affordable precious metal investment that serves as an industrial commodity and a store of value. It often outperforms gold during economic upturns. If you have an IRA or 401k, you can act now. Roll over a portion into a tax-advantaged gold and silver IRA backed by physical metals you actually own. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000 and find out how you can get a tax and penalty-free rollover for a portion of your retirement funds for 2026. Results vary. Consult your financial advisor before investing. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000.
Hello?
Sir, this is Officer Peterson. There's been a string of break-ins in the area, and your office, it was hit.
Hit? What do you mean? We were robbed?
Looks like the back door lock was easily pried open, and they moved through the building like they knew exactly what to take. We see wires everywhere. No computers.
What? No computers? I just upgraded everything.
Looks like they moved fast. We only found out because a neighboring business had their alarm go off. Do you have any security cameras?
No, nothing.
Don't wait until it's too late. Goldilocks protects Chicagoland businesses with custom security solutions. From reinforced commercial doors with keyless entry to cameras and 24/7 monitoring that alerts authorities immediately. Schedule a free on-site assessment at GoldilocksInc.com. Again, that's GoldilocksInc.com. Plus, AM 560 listeners get their first 3 months of monitoring free with a new install. Call 708-889-5600. That's 708-889-5600. Goldilocks, Chicago's premier locksmith, doors, and security systems company since 1981.
File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction or your money back. File in the Credit Karma app.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Sue Aller. We are jammed this morning on I-57 inbound at 119th Street, all because of a collision delay start right around 127th Street. You got the right lane blocked. The Bishop Ford is jammed inbound between 115th and the Dan Ryan. And traveling on the Tri-State northbound, you've got delays between the Reagan Memorial and the Eisenhower. Just 14 minutes both ways on the Eisenhower from Wolf to the old post office. 16 minutes in both directions on the Edens from Lake Cook to Montrose. And the Kennedy is 9 minutes both ways from Montrose to the Byrne Interchange. 26 minutes inbound on the Stevenson from Veterans Memorial to Lakeshore. Outbound is 22. 16 in on the Dan Ryan from 95th to the Byrne Interchange. Outbound is 11. This report is sponsored by King Hawaiian Sliders. Nothing brings friends and family together on game day like delicious King's Hawaiian Sliders. Bring them to the big game table and be the real MVP. Pick some up this weekend in the bakery or deli section of your local store. Football and King's Irresistible Hawaiian Sliders. weathers. There's nothing like it. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now the latest forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Today, we will see a bit of snow in the morning with accumulation ranging from a coating to an inch. The day will be mostly cloudy and breezy with a chance of freezing drizzle. This may lead to a slippery morning commute, especially in the northern regions in northwest Indiana. The high temperature will reach 37 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Sports and politics and sports and politics and sports and politics and intersection. Arrogance and ignorance, arrogance, ignorance, and arrogance and ignorance. Intersection.
Okay, so the Super Bowl is Sunday. We'll get back to some immigration stuff a little bit later, including the Besson show heading over to the Senate, which I teased. But Super Bowl is Sunday, and I did want to get this in. First of all, just on the quickly on the sports and politics piece of this, because I want to talk about this Super Bowl ad that Patriots owner Robert Kraft is financing for the Super Bowl this Sunday. But let me just say that Bob Kraft and Bill Belichick not getting into the Hall of Fame this year? What? Bob Kraft, he has 6 Super Bowls. Super Bowl championships. Belichick has 8. I mean, yeah, he is making a bit of a spectacle of himself down there in North Carolina with his early 20-something paramour parading up and down the sidelines and so forth. And don't even get me started on the cringy Instagram posts we've discussed. So that may be you may find that to be a bad look. You may be applauding Bill Belichick. Whatever. That has nothing to do with whether or not he should be in the Hall of Fame. Are you kidding? And I know, and I'm not a huge Tom Brady fan, and I was very critical of Deflategate and a little bit less so Spygate. But, I mean, those are still, in the grand scheme of things. You want to vacate the Super Bowl in the Deflategate year? Fine with that. But you're going to tell me Tom Brady doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame? And so all of those Patriots that are in the Hall or going to the Hall, and Belichick and Kraft are not? What are you talking? Come on. It's just absurd. And it shows you, again, the sports press corps, an adjunct to the D.C. political press corps. They so want to be taken seriously. They're largely petty little people who make themselves feel important by tearing down people who actually accomplish things. That's so much of what constitutes journalism these days. Petty little people addressing their inadequacies by prosecuting people who don't have similar inadequacies. And that's what this Hall of Fame flap is, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, good grief. Come on. Anyway, the ad. This is where I'm going to go south on Bob Kraft. It doesn't, translate terribly well to radio. So let me just describe it before I play it. So it's an ad to combat anti-Semitism. Bob Kraft is Jewish. And he's a, great benefactor of Jewish causes, which is fine, wonderful, whatever. But the choice is here. So it is a Jewish kid walking down the hallway at school, and it's white kids that bump into him in the hallway, and purposefully and murmuring anti-Semitic things. Then he goes to his locker and he opens it, and there's a Post-it note that says "Dirty Jew" on it. There's a Post-it note. He pulls his backpack off of his shoulder, and the guys that bumped him in the hallway had put a Post-it note on his backpack, dirty Jew. So he opens his locker, he looks down his backpack, and he sees the Post-it note on his backpack. Okay. 2 in 3 Jewish teens have experienced anti-Semitism. So what happens then is this black dude shows up. I think he's or Muslim dude. I'm not sure which he's supposed to be. And, sort of stands in solidarity with him. And as he's looking down the hallway at the guys who, posted that epithet and a Post-it note on his backpack, the dude, the black or Muslim dude that comes to his aid says, basically they're not worth it. And they walk down the hallway together. Because that's what's really happening. That's really the genesis of this all, isn't it? And the white dudes are like, I would say, intended to be like your standard issue, like, bro guys. This is not like the panty waist leftist students, honkies and otherwise at Columbia that shut down the campus, or at UCLA who created Jewish no-go zones. That's not the profile here, even though that's the profile of the actual anti-Semites, which is why, while I support, obviously, the message, the delivery of it leaves a lot to be desired.
Dude.
Did you see that? Should we tell him? So bad.
Oh, bro, look at him. Oh my God.
Not funny.
Do not listen to that.
Thank you, man.
I know how it feels. Nah. They're not worth it, bro.
Yeah, you're right. I was tripping.
What's your name?
Name's Dave.
David?
Yeah.
Allow.
Mm-hmm. Robert Kraft, for the third straight year, the Blue Square Alliance Against Hate is proud to show up on sports' biggest stage and speak directly to more than 120 million Americans with an urgent message. Stand up for each other and stand up to hate wherever you see it. 312-642-5600. Give us a call or text if you've seen the ad or you want to comment on the gist of it. Now, this is the same week that Roger Goodell, it's just so pathetic. This is what they do. They bastardize things that, of course, all decent people agree with. Yes, of course, I oppose anti-Semitism and the use of racial epithets against people. And, of course, I want to end racism like we see in end zones and on the back of NFL helmets. But the people that are purporting to be at the tip of the spear here are actually the ones exacerbating it. That's the thing that's so frustrating. You don't have the moral high ground. You're a fraud. End racism? What's the Rooney Rule in the NFL? Which Roger Goodell wants to re-examine now that all these coaching vacancies that occurred this year. And I don't believe there has been a new black head coach hired in all the head coaching vacancies. And so now there's some crisis in the NFL. Like the NFL, all of a sudden in 2026, despite the longstanding existence of the Rooney Rule and all of this other business. And by the way, Roger Goodell's tenure, now we need to re-examine whether there's systemic racism in the NFL because a black coach wasn't hired for one of the vacancies, especially when you have, the context of some legacy coaches that were turned out, and of course were going to land on their feet if they wanted to, the John Harbaughs of the world. Mike Tomlin, one of the longest serving coaches of the Steelers, deciding to step aside, but he decided to step aside. But now there's a problem in the NFL with systemic racism, and we got to re-examine it and so on and so forth. The Rooney Rule is, I'm going from memory here, but effectively it's for every head coaching vacancy, the team must interview at least 2 qualified black applicants. And there's some formula for assistant coaches as well. But now there's crisis because, John Harbaugh got a new job and some other qualified black coach didn't get the job. I mean, they are not doing what they are saying they're doing. And it's the same with Kraft with this ad. It's all this sort of like, solidarity and marginality. The Jewish kid and the mother, I know what it's like. Meanwhile, against this backdrop, Nike is under scrutiny for discriminating against whites when it comes to employment. And I despise the whole sort of discussion of, who is entitled to what and who is being discriminated based on their identity. And the whole thing is so past post. We're so past that. Are there people that are ignorant that don't like people because of their color of their skin or their sex or their religion or something? Sure there are. Is that central to the hurdles that any person is facing in this country? It is not. In education, in employment, and so forth. If you're a hardworking, play-by-the-rules guy or gal, you're going to be fine. They want you to believe you won't be because of these identitarian characteristics that they obsess about, these, noblesse oblige honkies like Roger Goodell, and very few other people do. And it's just so tiresome. And I don't know why people are afraid to call it out for what it so obviously is and who they so obviously are. They're pathetic. Joe in Hoffman Estates on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, Dan, good morning. I think Dennis Prager summed it up best when he said that there's such little racism going on now that the left actually has to make it up to keep it going.
Well, that's right. That's exactly what it is. Thanks for the call, Joe. And which is why you get these race hoaxes, as our friend Will Riley from Kentucky State wrote an entire book about it. When the supply runs out, doesn't mean the demand has. So we're going to have to invent it. Jussie Smollett. And that's what they do. Because they're race hustlers. If they can't find real world examples, then they have to invent it. Otherwise, their hustle doesn't work. And unfortunately, they have very well-to-do individuals like sports team owners and well-to-do organizations like the NFL that perpetuate the hoax, the hustle. And racism on the back of your helmet. Give me a break. Get the frack out of here already. Gabby in Schaumburg.
Hey, good morning, Dan. Listen, as you just said, it's the grift that keeps on giving. We were all brought up with racism. I was brought up out east. We had a name for everybody, even as far as third grade. We were calling people what they were. They were calling me names. We all got by. And actually, the subject is exhausting. It's exhausted. No one's listening anymore. They burnt it out. That's all I have to say. Have a great weekend.
Thanks for the call. Of course, Bob Kraft also, had that little massage parlor incident. This ad that he's a part of, that he's so proud of. I guess he doesn't need the help anymore because that's completely masturbatory. Mark, Oak Lawn.
Hey, Jan, thanks for taking my call. Boy, I tell you, it's such an interesting topic. I'm so tired of the NFL with all these slogans, generic slogans that mean nothing. And they're just trying to divide the country. Here's what they need to do. How about putting in the end zones and the back on the helmet Stop abortions. Family first.
Yeah.
Job, go to work. Read books. Jesus lives.
Yeah. I mean, thanks for the call, Mark. Jesus lives. Interesting. That was actually the theme of some of President Trump's remarks at the National Prayer Breakfast yesterday. May 17th. I mean, just as a quick aside, since you mentioned it, I don't think it's going to be on NFL helmets anytime soon, and it doesn't need to be. Read a book could be. Yeah. But Trump on the rededication of America, May 17th, put it in your calendar.
Converts, and also the number of people going to church every week. To support this exciting renewal this morning, I'm pleased to announce that on May 17th, 2026, that we're inviting Americans from all across the country to come together on our national mall to pray, to give thanks, and we are going to do something that everyone said, like, that's tough. We're going to rededicate America as one nation under God. You know, a lot of people...
And inviting people to come to the mall for essentially like a, National Day of Voluntary Prayer and rededication of America. He went on to say this, just to put an exclamation point on it.
I've always said, you just can't have a great country if you don't have religion. You have to believe in something. You have to believe that what we're doing, there's a reason for it. There has to be a reason for it. We're all working and we're behaving. I mean, I behave because I'm afraid not to, okay? I don't want to get in trouble.
Okay. But I mean, it's just that all this business, the Kraft ad, the NFL stuff, it's just so phony. It's ornamentation. They don't care. John in Bridgeport.
Hey, Dan, yeah, I hear you on that, but I don't want you to take your eye off the educational system, whether it's private or public. This past week, I know it's Black History Month, but they shift the focus from that to the migrants in Minnesota and what happened in Minnesota, and the teachers are pushing their narrative on how unfair ICE is and down with ICE and all that stuff, and these are for 4th and 5th graders. So the battle is going to continue, and we can't get past it. You got to meet them head on. I'm just pissed off that I pay tuition for this nonsense.
Yeah, right. Thanks for the call. I agree. And how long have you been saying that? Your school boards and your private school, and whether it's Loyola Academy or Bennett or those CPS schools where they had the walkout that I played earlier in the show with Rosanna Dana Rodriguez Sanchez. Meanwhile, the Chicago Press Corps is trying to make life difficult for Chicago Hope Academy that's actually getting it done. How about supporting Chicago Hope? How about parents there who didn't opt their kids out of Linda McMahon's little history fun and games in her stop by? How about they put pressure on the other parents? How about they rally to the defense of Chicago Hope Academy? How about they say something to the cameras? You should be covering Chicago Hope Academy as this is what needs to be replicated and scaled in Chicago, you dimwits in the media all over Chicagoland. Same thing here. But everybody's got better things to do than to, make a fuss, dust anything up. They just bitch after the fact when the consequences are visited upon them. Dan Proft, Chicago's Morning Answer.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Your home or business has storm damage and you have an insurance claim.
Call Crestcom.
Crosscom Construction and Public Adjusters. Today, insurance companies are notorious for offering way too little money to repair damage to your home or commercial building due to wind, hail, tornado, floods, or fire. Crosscom works for you, not the insurance company. As licensed adjusters, Crosscom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout.
Call Crosscom.
630-871-5500. After they get you the fair insurance company result, Crosscom can start doing your repairs. Crosscom is a full construction and restoration company that will get your property back to its pre-loss condition, getting your life back to normal. Roof, siding, windows, doors, fire restoration, Crosscom does it all.
Call Crosscom.
Licensed in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin.
This is Dan Leitz with Crosscom. We share your conservative and Christian values. Let us handle everything. It all starts with a call.
630-871-5500. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com.
AM 560. The Answer.
Text from 630, but you'll still tune in for the big game. Yeah, well, I also watch Face the Nation. The ostrich play doesn't work. This is a fight. I'm just going to la, 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 la. I can't hear you. I can't see you. No. These are cultural fights. Engage. You know, just turn your back and pretend things are going to work themselves out because they don't. You got a shiv coming for you with your back turned. Grow up. Coming up at 7:07, we'll talk about Trump RX with our health insurance expert, C. Stephen Tucker, 7:07. It's now 7 o'clock on AM 560 WIND.
Another Guthrie family video. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. This one from Nancy's son, Cameron, to whoever kidnapped his 84-year-old mother over the weekend in Arizona.
We need a way to communicate with you so we can move forward. But first, we have to know that you have our mom. We want to talk to you, and we are waiting for contact.
As the FBI takes seriously the ransom notes sent to TV outlets.
The FBI confirmed there were two deadlines in the ransom note. The first one passed at 5 p.m. yesterday. That came with specific demands. If not met, a second deadline kicks in for this Monday. Agents are back out, going door to door in both Nancy's neighborhood and that of her daughter, Annie.
Fox's Alicia Cunha outside the Guthrie home in Tucson. No person of interest has yet been named. Death and destruction at a Shiite mosque in Pakistan bombed during Friday prayers, killing at least 31 people, more than 100 others wounded. A Russian general's been attacked.
Officials say Lieutenant General Vladimir Alexeyev was shot several times by an unidentified assailant. He's a deputy chief of Russian military intelligence. The attack took place at a residential building in Russia's capital, Moscow. Alexeyev is now being treated in the hospital. Several top Russian military officers have been assassinated in attacks that Moscow blames on Ukraine.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. The U.S. and Iran are talking today indirectly in Oman. Negotiators brokered by the foreign minister there following President Trump's threats to attack Iran again last year as he pushes Iran to scale back its nuclear and missile programs. Trump RX is up and running, unveiled last night by the president, touting deals he made with drug makers to let people buy from them directly.
We will pay equal to whatever the lowest price anywhere in the world. That's the price that you're going to be paying.
That's Fox's Kristen Goodwin.
The site launches with over 40 medications, including asthma inhalers, fertility, and weight loss drugs. Folks can search for the drug name to find the manufacturer that is offering discounts, then either buy on the drug maker's site or use a coupon.
America's listening to Fox.
WIND, Chicago.
Good morning. It is 32 degrees here in Chicago on AM 560, The Answer. I'm Stace Keen in the QC Kinetics newsroom. The woman shot by ICE agents last October will be attending President Trump's State of the Union address later this month as U.S. Representative Jesus Chuy Garcia's invited guest. Miramar Martinez was in Washington, D.C. this week. She was testifying about her encounter with ICE agents, which left her recovering from several gunshot wounds which court records show the agents bragged about giving her. Martinez told Congress members that she believes she was shot because she's a Latina. Residents continue to speak out against a proposed Amazon data center during a meeting in Hobart, just southeast of Chicago yesterday, as many details about the project remain unknown. Fox 32 Chicago's Brett Bugansky in Hobart with more.
When this meeting started, we had a lawyer from Amazon talking about where they were at right now. One of the big concerns was what appears to be some digging there. Now, they said they were moving some soil around, looking at the condition of it. But one member of the Plan Commission asked about a site plan and added, you can't just push soil around without a plan. That certainly got a lot of people applauding in the crowd. But, Amazon's rep said it's going to be 3 to 4 months before they have a site plan. So that's certainly another thing why people are very upset about. We've heard from dozens of speakers, only 2 spoke in favor of this deal. The rest of them were against this project.
A 17-year-old boy is being charged as an adult in connection with a shooting that happened last November, which injured 7 other teenagers. Police say Demarion Cherry opened fire following the city's tree lighting ceremony in downtown Chicago. Authorities say Cherry was shot in the chest late last month. While hospitalized, police say he admitted to that November shooting. Cherry has been ordered to be held in jail without bond as he awaits his trial. News is a service of the Will County Freedom Caucus. Celebrate America's 250th birthday on February 15th at the Crystal Crown Ballroom in Lamont. Hear U.S. Senate candidate Don Tracy and gubernatorial candidates Darren Bailey, James Mindrick, and Ted Dabrowski. Get your tickets now at willcountyfreedom.com. A check of the roads is coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
On February 24th, President Trump will deliver his State of the Union address to Congress.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
And AM 560 The Answer is throwing a viewing party, and you're invited to join us for dinner at the Meridian Banquets and Conference Center in Rolling Meadows. Enjoy dinner before the speech, and then watch the speech with AM 560's Dan Proft, Sean Thompson, Jeannie Ives, Amy Jacobson, and John Anthony. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/party. Sponsored in part by Edward Jones agent Nolan Webster.
Switchboard Apparatus Incorporated is seeking a mechanical engineer in Franklin Park, Illinois, to be the mechanical design group team member responsible for completion of design and engineering tasks associated with electrical distribution gear. Requires a bachelor's in electrical or electronics engineering, mechatronics, robotics and automation, or a related engineering field. There will be occasional weekend and or evening work and local travel. Salary is $73,341 to $87,547 per year. Benefits can be found at sai-aps.com/careers 5E12D8CD. To apply, email resume to careers1@sai-aps.com. Again, that's careers1@sai-aps.com.
Want to see if you could pay less in taxes? Try the quick and easy tax calculator at willsave.com. Yes, a free tax calculator. That's WILSAVE.com. Calculate how you could keep more of your hard-earned money and give less to Uncle Sam, especially in retirement. Get your free tax analysis today at willsave.com. And don't forget to tune in to Protecting Your Assets with Steve Shyman every Saturday morning at 8, right here on AM 560 The Answer.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-809-7171. That's 800-809-7171.
Progressive Commercial knows truckers can expect the unexpected when driving, but a little heads up like this would still be nice.
Hey there, big rig. I'm driving the hatchback ahead of you. Heads up, at the next light, I'm going to stop right in the middle of both lanes, and you won't know if I'm taking a right or going straight. You know what? Me neither. Over.
Be ready for the unexpected and save on the protection you need with personalized discounts. Get a quote in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, covered subject to terms and limits. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Listen carefully. Silver prices have experienced a historic surge, breaking above the $100 per ounce threshold for the first time, and industry experts predict silver could climb even higher. It's not too late for you to benefit from the surge in silver. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000 to get our free gold and silver investment guide. Plus, you'll also receive a free copy of economist Ken Rogoff's book, Our Dollar, Your Problem. Debt is rising, currencies are under pressure, and investors are looking for real assets, not paper promises. That's why so many Americans are turning to physical gold and silver with Advantage Gold. Historically, when silver starts moving, it can move fast and aggressively. This isn't about guessing tops or bottoms. It's about understanding risk and positioning before momentum accelerates. Call Advantage Gold now at 800-900-8000 and find out how you can get a tax and penalty-free rollover for a portion of your retirement funds for 2026. Results vary. Consult your financial advisor before investing. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Sue Eller. We got a big mess on the Dan Ryan on the outbound side. First off, you've got two right lanes down at 79th Street with a collision, and then just stop and go outbound in the express lanes between 35th Street and 43rd Street. An accident was quickly cleared away, so not a good ride at all. The 57 outbound at Wentworth Avenue, there's another crash, and then the Stevenson just stop and go inbound between Harlem Avenue and Kenzie Avenue. 35 minutes from Veterans Memorial to Lakeshore, outbound is 25. 20 minutes in on the Eisenhower from Wolf to the old post office, outbound is 18. 16 minutes all around on the Edens from Lake Cook to Montrose, and about 12 minutes both ways on the Kennedy from Montrose to the Byrne Interchange. News is a service of the Will County Freedom Caucus. Celebrate America's 250th birthday on February 15th at Crystal Grand Ballroom in Lamont. Their U.S. Senate candidate Don Tracy and gubernatorial candidates Darren Bailey, James Mendrick, and Ted Dabrowski. Get your tickets today at willcountyfreedom.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now the latest forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Today we will see a bit of snow in the morning with accumulation ranging from a coating to an inch. The day will be mostly cloudy and breezy with a chance of freezing drizzle. This may lead to a slippery morning commute, especially in the northern regions and northwest Indiana. The high temperature will reach 37 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. So the affordability conundrum, so much of it is being driven by health insurance costs, particularly with Obamacare imploding, as all of these centrally planned gambits inevitably do. And as we talked about just a little week or 10 days ago with our next guest, a lot of Americans seeing real spikes in premiums as well as in deductibles. And so the president trying to address that, theoretically talking about getting money directly to American families to make their own health care decisions, trying to sort of backdoor undo the backdoor takeover of the health insurance industry by the state, turning it into an oligopoly. One of the things Trump is trying to implement to provide some relief is Trump RX, Trump the pharmacist, the government as pharmacist, and bringing the costs that Americans pay for pharmaceutical drugs in line with the prices that are paid by countries around the world. Good idea in theory, but it's not without its own complications. For more on all of this, pleased to be joined again by the most knowledgeable man on health insurance in the United States of America. He is C. Stephen Tucker, the founder of healthinsurancementors.com. CS, thanks for joining us.
We did.
So Trump RX, I know we've talked about it before, but now that we've got Dr. Oz out flacking for it and Trump making the commitment that you will pay lower prices for pharmaceuticals because we're going to be aligned with what the big pharma companies charge other countries, you know, using the old argument, we're using our leverage, our massive purchasing power, the state being the largest consumer of healthcare services and products. We're going to use that to bring down prices for you. The great promise of government price controls rears its head again. What do you think will be the likely outcome for, Johnny Punch Clock and Sally Housecoat?
Well, Trump RX, I spent some time yesterday after it released at 7 p.m. You could actually use the tool. And Trump RX is giving the same prices for GLP-1s like Ozempic, for example, that you can get without having to appeal to the pharmaceutical company. you can just simply go to goodrx.com, get the exact same discount that TrumpRx provides for Ozempic. And so it's nothing revolutionary that's happening with TrumpRx.com. In fact, when President Trump was still just a game show host at The Apprentice, and when Democrats and Republicans both loved him because he donated to both parties, I was speaking down south Illinois in Chillicothe to a big group down there. And when I finished my speech, a woman came up to me afterward, and her son had just been kicked off of Medicaid because, of course, they made $1 more than the 138% of the federal poverty level, or 318% if you have children. And he lost eligibility for the very expensive medications that he uses to control his epilepsy that he's had since he was a child. And so she was fretting how she's going to pay for these crazy costs of these medications that he desperately needs. And so I told her that she can apply directly to the manufacturer, and the manufacturer will provide it for you for free, or if anything, a very, very small copay. And she looked at me like I was speaking a foreign language. How could this be possible? Well, she did exactly as I instructed her to do, and she sent me an email later and called me and said, I can't believe it, but I'm paying nothing, and he doesn't have Medicaid. I just appealed to the manufacturer. And so this was happening long before TrumpRx.com. The good thing about TrumpRx.com is for people who don't know that, and I suspect that's a lot of Americans, they're now going to find out that you can appeal directly to the manufacturer. And if you have private health insurance, for example, you will pay nothing for expensive medications, including biologics. Yours truly takes a drug called Dupixent. I use it to control my allergies and polyps that grow in my sinuses, and it's $4,468 a month market price. I have paid nothing for that medication for 5 years because I appealed to manufacturer of Dupixent. I have private health insurance, and I pay nothing. And so TrumpRx is connecting Americans to that, and I suspect many of them don't know that's possible. So that is a good thing. But again, if you need a GLP-1, like Ozempic, you don't have to appeal to the manufacturer. You go to goodrx.com and get the same price you will find at TrumpRx.gov.
I wonder if that's where J.B. Pritzker goes. So what is GoodRx? GoodRx.com.
GoodRx is a publicly traded company. And for years, they've been competing against Mark Cuban's site, which is SaveRx. And they've done it better than Mark Cuban has done. Their prices are lower, and they've done it so well that they're now publicly traded. And we've been using GoodRx.com for years. But there are drugs there that are very expensive. For example, Mounjaro, another GLP-1, is about $1,000 a month at GoodRx.com. But if you purchase it from Canada via UniversalDrugstore.com, you will pay half that price because it ships from the UK. And apparently there are vertically challenged people across the pond as well. And so the cost of Mounjaro is half the price at UniversalDrugstore.com. So there are still drugs in this country that are half the price by not adding the massive U.S. markup. Now, that is enough idle talk about TrumpRx.gov because it's nothing new. What is new and is not being discussed, and I don't know why, are two major reforms that President Trump is putting in place. The first one is going to come in April for all Medicare beneficiaries. As it currently stands now, if you have Medicare Part D, which of course you must have if you have Medicare, if you do not have diabetes or heart disease, your Part D policy will not cover your GLP-1. Your doctor has to attest that you have some sort of medical condition. In other words, you cannot use these GLP-1s simply for weight loss. For some bizarre reason, they want you to wait until you are overweight enough that you develop diabetes, and then they'll cover it because you're fat and you have diabetes, which is insane. So President Trump signed an executive order that beginning in April of this year, if you have Medicare Part D, you don't have to have diabetes. You don't have to have heart disease. You simply want to lose weight so that you don't develop diabetes. And as of April of this year, you will pay a copay as low as $50 for drugs that cost $1,000 a month at GoodRx.com or half that price in Canada. These are real reforms that are going to benefit people very quickly in less than 2 months from now.
And That's specific to the GLP-1s, though, right?
GLP-1s. Yes, exactly. And that's a big deal. I can't tell you how many clients who tell me, I cannot believe it. I went through the Medicare Part D enrollment tool. It told me that Mounjaro is covered. I go to fill it, and they say, no, you don't have diabetes, which is just insane. So that is a big reform.
Well, that's good to know. Very good. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, the other big reform. We have heard for years that pharmacy benefit managers are hoarding rebate prices. Right, which is driving up the cost of prescription drugs for everybody, not just Medicare, but everybody, employer-sponsored, individual, et cetera. So President Trump, just 3 days ago, signed a law, and the law allows for reforms, major reforms for pharmacy benefit managers. No longer can they keep these massive rebates, which of course incentivize them to push brand name drugs, which are more expensive than generic drugs, or to crowd out smaller pharmacies because they don't participate in this rebate sharing. From now on, thanks again to President Trump, this is Public Law 119-75, better known as HR 7148. It was signed on February 3rd. No one's talking about this. You're talking about Trump RX. Who cares? I'm talking about these major reforms that have been passed and are coming that are going to make a big difference. All these rebates now can no longer be hoarded by the pharmacy benefit managers. This law requires 100% pass-through of all of those rebates. It requires annual requirements of all the rebates they got and how they got them and how they're doing their pricing. It allows any willing pharmacy to participate, no longer crowding out smaller, more effective pharmacies. These are major reforms coming thanks to President Trump. TrumpRx.gov is nice, but it isn't what's really happening. What's really going to make a difference are the two things I just mentioned to you.
The PBMs. So one of the problems, I know Mark Cuban testified before in a congressional hearing about this a few weeks back, and one of the arguments that he made is the one you just made about rebates, but he also that these PBMs are vertically integrated, that you basically have PBMs that are spin-offs of the big health insurance companies, and so. So it's not like an independent middleman in the chain. It's a co-opted middleman that is essentially providing health insurance companies with another bite at the apple.
Yeah, exactly. And so all of that's going to stop now. And this is major legislation that was passed, and it's a big deal. And it was only 3 days ago. Who's talking about it? Have you heard anybody talk about this? I don't understand. They should be talking about it. Instead, they're touting TrumpRx.gov, which is great, but that's been done for years. It's nothing new. These are major new reforms that are going to benefit everybody.
Well, I mean, the GLP-1 reform you mentioned in terms of Medicare eligibility and coverage, I mean, that cost savings is pretty straightforward. You're going to have to pay $1,000 a month. You're going to pay a $50 copay. Yeah, that's big.
That's unbelievable.
I mean, how insolvent Medicare is, I guess we'll talk about another day. But I digress. What about what kind of relief, price relief do you expect then from this PBM reform?
Oh, I suspect major price relief, especially for the tier 3 drugs, which are brand, tier 4, which is non-preferred brand, and of course, tier 5 and 6, which are specialty drugs. These are the biologics that I was speaking about earlier. Anti-rejection medications after organ transplant, GLP-1s, et cetera, because all of these rebates now have to be 100% passed through to the plan provider and no longer be hoarded by the PBMs. And that's a major reform that we all can thank President Trump for.
Just going back to Trump RX for a second. So if it already exists with, GoodRx, which, as you said, is a publicly traded company, same prices, then does that give lie to the whole argument that's advanced by those who have a central planning disposition? And that's being advanced by the Trump administration, too, if we're being honest, Dr. Oz and others, that we're going to use our purchasing power, our leverage to reckon with these pharmaceutical companies. That's not a thing. They can't do any better than a private company has been doing.
Correct. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, this has already been done. Anything that they're doing at TrumpRx.gov is already being done in the private sector. So to have the government involved. I don't understand the necessity of that, since the private sector has already solved the problem, as the private sector almost always solves the problems. But I do see the need for it. The need for it is, as I mentioned, a lot of people don't know what I told you at the outset of this conversation. And number two, we got to get to the midterms.
Well, okay, so the political piece of this for sure. But so you know, the net of this, what you think people will save with respect to pharmaceuticals versus what, again, that sort of median family is facing with increased premiums and deductibles because of those spikes that we discussed previously under the, you know, writ large Obamacare plans.
Yeah, well, the major reforms are happening with Medicare, right? Obamacare just gets worse year after year. By the way, that brings up the last topic I want to mention to you before we end this conversation. The disastrous rollout of getcovered.illinois.gov, which was mandated by J.B. Pritzker. You can no longer use healthcare.gov. I have clients today. It is February 6th. They paid their premiums for January 1 using the disastrous website getcovered.illinois.gov, and they have no health insurance. They paid for a January 1st effective date. Many of them have given up and applied again for a February 1st effective date. We're still crossing our fingers to see if the policy will be issued, because the transference of their premium to the carrier did not occur via getcovered.illinois.gov. So those who have been damaged by the rollout of the most disastrous website in U.S. history have an extra 30 days, well, actually 24 days or so, until we get to the end of February, to appeal to getcovered.illinois.gov, so long as they had a policy that automatically renewed for 2026, to fix that problem and hopefully get coverage for March 1st. So there's an extra month to fix those errors. I would beseech anyone who is without health insurance now to get in touch with getcovered.illinois.gov, because they have an extra 22 days.
Yeah, you mentioned this last time we talked. Just remind people that Pritzker and in his infinite wisdom set up a state website this go around so that you cannot enroll in the federal website. You have to enroll in on the state website. Give us the reason that he did that. And then again, just sort of restate the implication. So you have people who paid for health insurance that are now looking at least at the horizon right now, maybe as much as 3 months without coverage. And if you have a health event, then what happens?
Yeah. I had getcovered.illinois.gov on the phone with Blue Cross for 4 hours to fix a situation for a client of mine who is sick, has multiple medical conditions, and she was weeping on the phone to get her health insurance in place. It finally happened 3 weeks later, by the grace of God, in 4 hours on the phone with the bureaucrats at Get Covered Illinois and Blue Cross to get her coverage. It has been an unmitigated disaster, and the reason it's happening now, we taxpayers paid $1 billion to build a site that actually works. It has worked perfectly for 14 of the last 15 years, and that is healthcare.gov. To disrupt that process for the reasons Pritzker chose, Pritzker, our governor, moved everybody to getcovered.illinois.gov and forced them to use that site, because he can open and close it whenever he wants, which is a difference between state-based exchange and state-federal partnership exchange. And then he can ensure that mandates that were passed in Springfield, for example, gender-affirming care for minors, can be allowed, right, as a covered expense. President Trump, if you purchase a health insurance policy on the federal exchange, that kind of coverage cannot be included. So there was impetus to do this via J.B. Pritzker and Springfield Democrats. What they have done is hurt people without insurance now who dutifully paid their premiums do not have coverage as we speak right now on February 6th. This has never happened in my 30-year career. It has never happened since 2014, but it is happening right now.
And if you don't have, you've paid the premium. So what is the conversation with Blue Cross Blue Shield? Would be very interesting. I paid the premium. I haven't been conferred coverage. So I have a health event. I paid. You took my money. Do I have the terms of the plan I paid for or not?
The answer is no. The answer is no. We're working on it. We're going to create a ticket for you behind hundreds of other tickets. That's what's going on.
So I have to have whatever a $10,000 surgery. Normally it would be covered. My first whatever it says, say my $2,500 deductible, and then the rest is covered. Now I'm paying $10,000 out of pocket, even though I paid the premium.
Yes, unless and until they get your policy enforced. And there are so many tickets, Dan, I can't even tell you. I have people, like I told you, just gave up and applied for February 1st. Those people who applied for February 1st are still waiting to see if February 1st is enforced. A complete, unmitigated disaster.
Wow. All right. Always illuminating. Thanks for distilling all this for us, CS. CS Tucker, the founder of healthinsurancementors.com, healthinsurancementors.com. See Stephen Tucker. Again, thank you so much.
Thank you, Tim.
And CS joined us on Chicago's Morning Answer.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
RedState.com captures the pulse of grassroots conservatism. Red State staff of contributors are on top of breaking news with stories and analysis that challenge the established agenda. RedState.com educates, motivates, and activates passionate conservatives across America, arming them with the facts that put them ahead of the political curve. No wonder RedState.com is a must-read for elected officials and for citizens who want to make their vote count. RedState.com is the place where influence meets action. Log on to redstate.com today.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Anthony and John here from Bionic Auto Parts, proud clients of Signature Bank. We deliver high-quality, recycled and remanufactured auto parts to Chicago and Milwaukee. Our mission is simple: provide parts safely, reliably, with great customer satisfaction.
We process over 350 vehicles a month. With big banks, everything took forever. Layers of approvals and endless delays. At Signature Bank, one call got it done. Whether it's lending, deposits, or treasury management, they deliver fast. Signature Bank made us feel like family. That's a partnership we deeply appreciate.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature Bank can help turn your business vision into reality? Call Signature Bank at 773-467-5600 or visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You need a construction company, but who?
Call Crosscom.
A construction company you can trust that shares your Christian and conservative values. For decades, Crosscom has been doing work in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin. Roofs, siding, windows, doors, gutters, basically everything for your home or business, even solar. Quality work and professional services that make you feel great about your decision to work with Crosscom.
Call Crosscom.
630-871-5500. Give them a chance to earn your business. If your repairs are due to storm, fire, or flood damage, you need to
call Crosscom.
They're licensed public adjusters. They work for you, not the insurance company. Crosscom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout. They know the insurance companies and how to deal with them. They win for you.
Call Crosscom.
Crosscom Construction and Public Adjusters.
This is Dan Lights with Crosscom. You can trust us with your home or business for high-quality work and fair prices. It's the only way we do business.
630-871-5500. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com.
The following advertisement includes a celebrity impersonation.
Let me tell you, Chicago gets cold, very cold, and they love me in Chicago. The fake news isn't reporting it, but it's true. And you can't have your furnace fail in Chicago. That's no good.
That's when you should call Air Right Heating and Cooling.
The technicians, beautiful people. You're freezing, everybody's freezing. They show up fast, know what they're doing, and get the heat back on quickly.
Air Right Heating and Cooling offers 24/7 service throughout Chicagoland.
A broken furnace in Chicago is like living in Greenland. And believe me, I know Greenland. Very cold, lots of ice. These guys install the best furnaces. Frankly, it's not even close. Even Rosie O'Donnell would say I'm right, but she won't.
For fast, reliable heating service, trust Air Right Heating and Cooling. Tell them AM 560 sent you and save $56 off any service.
Nobody's ever done anything like that. Unbelievable.
Visit them at air-right.com. That's AIR-RITE.com. Doing it right since 1959.
AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up at 7:37, we'll return to the topic of law and order when it comes to immigration in this country, and specifically zero in on the politicians in robes in Minnesota. doing as much as the agitators on the streets to impede the enforcement of the law. Will Chamberlain from the Article 3 Project joins us 7:37 to discuss. Now we check the headlines.
Good morning. It is 32 degrees here in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Stace Keen in the QC Kinetics newsroom. Chicago finished fiscal year 2024 with a $41.1 billion gap between the money it has available to pay bills and the obligation it owes. That's according to a new report from Truth in Accounting, which places the city among the worst financially managed major cities in the U.S. Katrina Barker has the story.
Nonprofits Financial State, the city's report analyzed the 5 largest U.S. cities using audited financial statements. Chicago earned an F grade and a taxpayer burden of $42,600 per taxpayer. Only New York City ranked worse. I'm Katrina Barker.
And the woman who was shot by ICE agents last October will be attending President Trump's State of the Union address later this month. She'll be there as U.S. Representative Jesus Chuy Garcia's invited guest. Miramar Martinez was in Washington, D.C. this week. She was testifying about her encounter with ICE agents. Martinez told Congress that she believes she was shot because she's a Latina. News is a service of the Will County Freedom Caucus. Celebrate America's 250th birthday on February 15th at the Crystal Ground Ballroom in Lamont. You'll hear U.S. Senate candidate Don Tracy and gubernatorial candidates Darren Bailey, James Mindrick, and Ted Dabrowski. Get your tickets today at willcountyfreedom.com. A check of the roads is coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
On February 24th, President Trump will deliver his State of the Union address to Congress.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
And AM 560 The Answer is throwing a viewing party, and you're invited to join us for dinner at the Meridian Banquets and Conference Center in Rolling Meadows. Enjoy dinner before the speech, and then watch the speech with AM 560's Dan Proft, Sean Thompson, Jeannie Ives, Amy Jacobson, and John Anthony. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/party. Sponsored in part by Stephen A. Leahy with Opum Tax Advocates. A voice for the new right, charting a new path forward for American conservatism. It's the Josh Hammer Show, now available on the Salem Podcast Network.
Is this going to explode into 2020? For a while, it looked like that was not going to be the case. Increasingly, I am less confident. They're not stopping. They are being aided and abetted by willful idiot, neo-Confederate insurrectionist politicians like the coward in the Twin Cities, Tim Walz.
Subscribe today on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or at SalemPodcastNetwork.com.
You need to be tuning into the Retirement Success Blueprint with Michael Stewart, the radio companion to the Amazon best-selling book, Success Blueprint, How to Build the Retirement You Deserve. Each week, Michael shares strategies designed to help reduce market risk through income-generating investments that can provide steady returns. Because if you can avoid a big loss, you don't need to take big risks. Catch the Retirement Success Blueprint with Michael Stewart, Saturday mornings at 10, right here on AM 560 The Answer.
Hey, it's Scott Jennings inviting you to join me on the unforgettable Gulf of America cruise happening this November 2026. Imagine it, turquoise waters, white sand beaches, incredible food, and insightful conversations about the future of our great country. Mike Gallagher and I will dive into the issues shaping America as we cruise through some of the most stunning destinations while honoring the 250th anniversary of our nation. Text cruise to 94878 or visit scottjenningsshow.com and click the cruise banner to sign up today.
Did you know most remodeling mishaps start before construction even begins? Here's something else you should know. At Forever Remodeling, we do things differently. Every kitchen, bathroom, and basement project starts with smart planning, detailed 3D designs, a clear scope of work, and accurate pricing, all sorted out before you get started. No surprises, no stress, just beautiful results. Done right the first time. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4, EVER, remodeling.com. And schedule your free in-home consultation today.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Stay tuned for a special message from Angel Dad Joe Abraham about his daughter Katie.
Put yourself in my shoes. I just spent my first Christmas without Katie. My daughter was murdered by an illegal immigrant Governor Pritzker protected. Imagine her final breaths, knowing that you would have given your life for hers, but you didn't have the chance. Put your child in Katie's shoes. Think of the unfulfilled dreams, the unrealized joys, and the permanent loss. I'm not a political guy, but when politicians unleash violent criminals, we all need to get involved. We can do better, and we must do better. Ted Dabrowski would have protected Katie, and he'll protect your children the way I wish someone had protected mine.
I'm Ted Dabrowski, and I approve this message.
Active Liver from New Nordic protects your liver so you can enjoy life to the fullest. Online at Amazon or in stores at CVS, Wegmans, and now GNC.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Sue Aller. Inbound on the Eisenhower from Wolf to the old post office, that's 29 minutes. Outbound is 18, but you are solid right now on the outbound side between Wolf Road and St. Charles Road. But an accident at York Road has been cleared away and jam-packed on the inbound side of the Stevenson with an accident just past Lagrange Road. The right lane is blocked, and then after that, the on-ramp at First Avenue, that is shut down with another accident to get onto the Stevenson and outbound. Really heavy delays between Harlem Avenue and Des Plaines River Bridge. Now it's 29 minutes outbound, and that is between Lakeshore and Veterans Memorial. Inbound is 46. No major slowdowns on the Dan Ryan, the Edens, or the Kennedy. This report is sponsored by King's Hawaiian Sliders. Nothing brings friends and family together on game day like delicious King's Hawaiian Sliders. Bring them to the big game table and be the real MVP. Pick them up this weekend in the bakery or deli section of your local store. Football and King's irresistible Hawaiian Sliders. There's nothing like it. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now the latest forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Today we will see a bit of snow this morning with accumulation ranging from a coating to an inch. The day will be mostly cloudy and breezy with a chance of freezing drizzle. This could lead to a slippery morning commute, especially in the northern regions and in northwest Indiana. The high temperature will reach 37 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. Well, arrests are being made. We discussed earlier in the program, Antifa Kyle and Notoriously Lizzie both picked up in Minnesota to join DeWoke Farmer and DeWoke Lemon. Also in New York, though, some mass arrests made by NYPD. Yeah, the local police are on the job for blocking roadway near Columbia University. Of course, Columbia in the news again. Mahmoud Khalil, is he available? He's on his way out, isn't he? He's being deported to Africa somewhere, as I recall, as well as those in Manhattan that were blocking entrances to buildings, you know, the chanting and so on and so forth.
You're obstructing pedestrian traffic by blocking this building's active entranceway. Union power! We got the power! Union power! Hey folks, unfortunately we're going to be running to take the food here. Can you just clear our path?
Yeah, and it turned out the police union had the power, if you catch my drift. They were taken away. Peacefully, thankfully. I didn't see any incidences of one of these professional agitators accosting police officers, so that's fine. You know, you want to get a disturbing the peace arrest on your record to show you're down with the struggle, you know, go ahead.
If you have refused to leave the roadway, you will be placed under oath on the charge of disorderly conduct. If you do not cooperate, or if you refuse arrest, leave the roadway, you will be placed under arrest on the charge of disorderly conduct. If you do not cooperate and
Yeah, they're sorry, officer. They're too busy with their chants. I mean, they put so much rehearsal work in. Some chanting, a little bit of a temper tantrum. Feel good about themselves. The self-esteem is the important thing. Here's one church, by the way, just in terms of a little bit of levity with respect to some of this, which is needed. A church in Delaware. Here's a church service that Don Lemon won't interrupt.
The whole purpose of this is to...
Our neighbors in Afghana, de-ice our neighborhoods. Invite our neighbors in Afghana, de-ice our neighborhood. Invite our neighbors in. We're gonna heal this world with love. Tear down the fences.
Yeah, don't know if Hunter was available. Don't exactly know if that's his church or not. So good times, good times. Less entertaining federal judges here. We talked about the judge who blocked temporarily the removal of TPS for asylum seekers who from Haiti who are in this country, some 350,000. Temporary protected status. This Biden appointee is not familiar. She doesn't know what temporary is, even just as she doesn't know what a woman is. We also had a judge, Indira Talwani, who is attempting to block the Trump administration from using taxpayer information to find people in this country illegally and apprehend them for deportation. Sort of standard issue law enforcement activity for the purposes of, holding people accountable under the law. These politicians in robes, a continuing problem, and don't know what you can do about it really in the short term other than appeal it and ultimately be victorious, but it just pushes out the duration of the process, doesn't it? For more on these and related legal matters, pleased to be joined again by Will Chamberlain, Senior Counsel at the Article 3 Project. Will, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Great to be with you.
The sing-along at the Delaware Church was just for your benefit. But what I really want to talk to you about is the judges. The issues I mentioned, that Talwani holding on the use of of tax information to track down people in this country illegally, where relevant. And then the other case of the temporary protected status for Haitian asylum seekers being rescinded. Is it clear in both of these instances that the Trump administration and the president in particular on the TPS designation has the authority there?
Yeah, it's very clear on both. I think both of these decisions are dramatically wrong and will eventually either get reversed on appeal by the First Circuit or, in the case of the Talwani decision or whatever circuit happens. I forget, the TPS thing I think is happening on the 9th, so that may need to go to the Supreme Court. But in any event, both of these circuits and both of these judges are just wildly out of control. Talwani in particular has ruled against the administration in basically every opportunity, and even when she is slapped down by the First Circuit, which is not a friend of the Trump administration. I don't think there's a single conservative judge on the First Circuit. She's repeated herself. There was one case with regard to Planned Parenthood funding where basically Congress stripped Planned Parenthood funding out of the appropriations, and Talwani was issued an injunction saying, no, you can't do that, which just goes against the most basic structure of our government. Of course, Congress can decide not to fund things, and you, random district judge, don't get to force them to.
And again, despite what the Supreme Court has indicated or tried to indicate to these Article 3 judges, just not taking in some quarters. Is there more that the High Court needs to do here, that Congress needs to do here, or is this just the bumps in the road that go along with separation of powers and dealing with rogue judges that have been confirmed by the Senate?
There must be something they can do, I would hope, to kind of police Ms. Talwani and inform her that she's expected to actually attempt in good faith to follow the law, which she just is not doing. It's really a unique circumstance. I can't think, even the judges who I have called for the impeachment of, people like James Boasberg and Judge Boardman, haven't shown the sort of consistent insubordination, not just to the executive branch, but rather to higher courts that Judge Talwani has. She's making no effort to try and conform her decisions to the law and to what higher courts have told her about similar cases. She's not even trying. And so, you see that and you think, okay, this person shouldn't be on the bench. They should find something else to do with their time. They're not doing their job.
Yeah, I suppose impeachment ultimately is the ultimate resolution to make an example of someone, but of course you need the votes to do that. Even perhaps the process, though, would be worthwhile, because the same thing in the case with TPS status for Haitian asylum seekers. The judge didn't make a claim based on the law. She just basically said Kristi Noem is racist. So I'm not. So you can't rescind it.
Yeah, and that's not viable. I mean, obviously, temporary protected status is supposed to be temporary. It's in there. There's nothing more permanent in United States immigration law than temporary protected status, apparently, to the point that judges are saying you can't rescind it. I mean, give me a break. The entire point of it is that it's a bit of grace that we give if there's a natural disaster, but that you'll be expected to go home, and that's the deal. Apparently not.
Well, and again, just all of these illustrations of the devastating consequences of the lawlessness inflicted by the previous administration on this country. We had another one that just bubbled to the surface yesterday. 4 Amish gentlemen, a father and 2 of his sons and a family friend, killed in a truck accident in rural Indiana by a Kyrgyzstani illegal who illegally obtained his CDL license in Pennsylvania. This is a whole, we've spent a lot of time talking about benefits fraud. We were talking about the vulnerabilities and the fraud being committed with licensure in some of these states, too, a few weeks back. Now it seems that we need to revisit that with California and sanctuary states in particular, but Pennsylvania isn't one. And you just have people on the road that shouldn't be on the road, and the body count continues to increase. I mean, this is the real world consequences that Tom Homan does such a nice job talking about. But there perhaps needs to be more emphasis and more pressure put on governors and secretaries of state to say, what kind of handle do you have on the amount of fraudulent CDL licenses that have been issued by your state?
Yeah, I think, it's the most, maybe the single most pressing public safety concern with regard to illegal immigration, because apparently it's everywhere. I mean, we had that Florida, that truck that, crossed 3 lanes of traffic on a highway in Florida, and he was a CDL holder, and he clearly barely spoke English at all, didn't understand basic traffic laws. CDLs are supposed to be hard to get because you're in control of a giant semi-truck. They're not, it should be harder to get than a driver's license. And these people aren't even really in a position where they should be qualifying for driver's licenses. So it's just a huge public safety threat.
Speaking of speaking English, maybe that was the inflection point in this country where things really started to slide away from us. The advent of Press 1 for English, when that became ubiquitous. It's just interesting because, as a case out of California, a former UCLA hospital gynecologist was convicted of being a sex predator. He was given an 11-year sentence for his crimes. But the conviction was just tossed because one of the jurors could not speak English. So he didn't really know what was going on. He didn't have the basis to form an opinion based on the facts that were presented in court to join with the rest of the jurors in rendering a guilty verdict. A foreman told the judge one of the jurors doesn't really speak English, and that never made it to the defense counsel. It's like these stories from suburban Chicago, the illegal immigrant from Montenegro who's on the Hanover Park, Illinois Police Department. There was a Cameroon person in this country, a person from Cameroon in this country illegally in New Orleans who was just arrested. He was in the police academy about to join the New Orleans police force. That's the kind of stuff that just sort of speaks to just how pervasive the impact of this lawlessness with respect to immigration law is.
Yeah, I think that's right. And it is remarkable how, it's just, you're seeing people take jobs how did they get that job? Did nobody ever ask for their passport ever? You'd think that would be the first thing you'd have to provide. It's a problem everywhere, and we need it to stop. And it's why the president is right to continue with the largest mass deportation program in American history.
I wanted to get your handle on another topic quickly before we let you go, if we could. Chuck Schumer was on MSNBC yesterday, as of course is his wont, and he was asked actually a pretty good question that he definitely avoided answering. You oppose the SAVE Act, birth certificate to register, voter ID to vote, but 71% of self-identified Democrats support it. So what do you say to them? Here's what he said.
Jess, there's a new Pew Research poll that 95% of Republicans, but also 71% of Democrats like this idea. So why do you not?
It's Jim Crow 2.0. And I called it Jim Crow 2.0, and the right wing went nuts all over the internet. That's because they know it's true. What they're trying to do here is the same thing that was done in the South for decades to prevent people of color from voting.
Yeah, so I guess 71% of self-identified Democrats are segregationists, according to their dear leader Schumer. But the argument against the SAFE Act that he makes, that married women changing their names won't be able to vote and so forth.
Yeah, you hit exactly the thought I had when he was saying that this is Jim Crow. Like, what an insult to your voters! It's not. Yeah, it's no longer merely just an insult to your black voters who you're insinuating would have trouble getting a driver's license. I mean, like, that's not actually that difficult thing to do, and almost everybody does it. You're insinuating the people that disagree with you are for Jim Crow. One of the things that's amazing about this, think about all the money that goes into these Democratic voter registration drives, and then these weird arguments about, we can't get everybody driver's licenses, and it's you got to make sure people without driver's licenses can vote. Why wouldn't you do what is really a humanitarian project of getting these people who do not have driver's licenses proper identification? If you can't prove who you are, it makes functioning in the modern world extremely difficult. So that would be, not only would it be it would be great for your voting if you had a voter ID requirement, but it would just be good for the people who you purport to represent. Get them ID so they can go to get on a plane if they need to, or go to a bar, or any number of things.
Yeah, I wish we could just identify this cohort, bring them into an arena or somewhere, and let's do it en masse. This cohort that can't get IDs in this country, they don't really exist, and so I think that's the main problem with Schumer's argument.
Right. Yeah. I mean, obviously, that's the real thing. It's probably fraudulent, because you'd think that if there were this mass of people without IDs, what you do is you take all those canvassers and all those nonprofit employees and all that billions of dollars designed to register people to vote, and have them go out and get the help walk these people through getting them to the DMV. That would be a very helpful thing to do. It'd be like a genuine mitzvah, but they don't do that, right? Like, they don't do that. They want to be able to cheat. That's why.
Will Chamberlain, Senior Counsel at the Article 3 Project. Thanks for joining us again, Will. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And he joined us on Chicago's Morning Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer.
If you or someone you love are getting high quotes for dental implants, visit almostfreeteeth.com today. With a medical PPO insurance plan, it's possible to save 90% off on average to be able to smile again. Check if you qualify now at almostfreeteeth.com.
Perhaps you're a collector, or perhaps all of a sudden you have a collection. Maybe it's an inheritance. How do you know what it's worth? This is Sean Thompson for Donley Auction. The market for antiques and collectibles is changing all the time. What is your collection worth right now? Well, I've got an easy way to find out. It's simple. You contact Donley Auctions. With their worldwide audience of live and in-person auctions, they have a good idea of how to tell you exactly what it's worth at exactly right now. They're ready to put top dollar in your pocket. The bigger the collection, the better. Go to DonleyAuctions.com and get the info on all things that they buy and sell to have an idea of exactly what Donley does and how much they need your collection. They have so many buyers, it's a great time to sell. Just simply make a phone call. Donley has traveled all over the country to pick up collections. Just call and talk to the people at Donley Auctions at 815-923-7000. Donley Auctions is your trusted partner in turning your collections into cash. DonleyAuctions.com.
On Salem News Channel, principled voices are shaping today's conversation. Scott Jennings brings clarity to the toughest debates. Josh Hammer's blistering commentary puts politics and culture on trial. And Alex Marlowe's insight connects us to what matters most. Watch anytime on Samsung TV Plus, Pluto TV, or find us on your screen at snc.tv. 3 new shows, 1 powerful lineup. Salem News Channel, across America.
If you think smart home technology is complicated, overwhelming, or crazy expensive, you haven't been to Cole Digital. At Cole Digital in Frankfurt, smart living isn't about flashy gadgets or blowing your budget. It's about making your home more comfortable, more functional, and more enjoyable, simply and affordably. And there's no better place to experience that than their 13,000 square foot design center, the most impressive technology showroom in all of Chicago. You'll walk through 30 fully designed rooms featuring audio, video, lighting, automation, and ideas you can actually use in your home. Every project Cole Digital does starts with a blank canvas and becomes a one-of-a-kind masterpiece designed around your style and vision. So if you're looking for inspiration, planning a remodel, or just want to see what smart living's really about, visiting Cole Digital in Frankfurt needs to be on your February to-do list. Learn more and plan your visit at koledigital.com. That's K-O-L-E digital.com.
At AlmostFreeTeeth.com, they're dedicated to making smiles great again. If you have medical PPO insurance, find out how you could save 90% off on average to get a beautiful dental implant-supported smile. Check if you qualify right now at AlmostFreeTeeth.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
You want to hear it again? Come on. De-ice our neighborhood.
Invite our neighbors in. I'm gonna
de-ice our neighborhood. Nice arrangement.
invite our neighbors in. We're gonna heal this world with love. Tear down the fences.
Yeah. I mean, not Bruce Springsteen-esque, but pretty good. Not like a tree planted by the water, I shall not be moved, but pretty good. Nice offering. We love our hippie protest songs. Coming up at 8:08, we'll get serious, talk dollars and cents, markets roiling with Jim Perry, Perry International Capital Partners. That's 8:08. And then, of course, bottom of the hour, Open Mic Friday. It's now 8 o'clock on AM 560 WIND Chicago.
One ransom note deadline has passed, another looms Monday. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. As the search for Nancy Guthrie continues in Arizona, her son Cameron put out another video message on social media to whoever kidnapped the 84-year-old.
We need you to reach out, and we need a way to communicate with you so that we can move forward. But first, we have to know that you have our mom.
Those ransom notes have been emailed to TV outlets.
The FBI has brought in a critical response group from Quantico. They have a team processing social media evidence and phone and digital footprints.
Fox's Alicia Cunha outside Nancy Guthrie's home in Tucson.
Here's what's going to happen today. We've been told that investigators are going to be back out going door to door in Nancy's neighborhood. We know that they were in Annie's neighborhood, the daughter, yesterday. They're still looking for more video camera. And I've been told that there are neighbors here who have received emails letting them know that authorities are going to be trying to talk to them and they really want any video they could possibly provide.
The U.S. and Iran holding indirect talks today in Oman through a mediator after President Trump's threats to attack again like last year as he demands Iran scale back its nuclear and missile programs. The U.S. military blew up another boat said to be trafficking drugs off the South American coast. 2 alleged narco-terrorists on board were killed. The opening ceremony at the Olympics is just hours away in Italy, though it's already day 3 of the Winter Games, and some are out protesting against the U.S. and immigration enforcement here.
Hundreds, mostly students, marching through Milan. The main focus of their anger is ICE. Immigration agents are in Italy to support the U.S. delegation.
They've done bad things that I don't approve of, and we don't approve of, and we don't want them here.
A banner criticizing Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Vice President J.D. Vance headed up the march.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. American skier Lindsey Vonn had a successful training run today, still competing despite Vonn suffering a serious knee injury. Her first race is Sunday. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It is 32 degrees here in Chicago on AM 560. The Answer. I'm Stace Keene in the QC Kinetics newsroom. Illinois Senate Democrats are pushing for higher taxes on digital advertising, billionaires, and corporations. Jim Talamonte has more.
At the Illinois Capitol this week, senators announced their plans for new legislation and said corporations are not paying what they owe. State Senator Robert Martwick said Illinois has one of the most crushing tax burdens in the United States.
If you live in Illinois, you pay a
greater percentage of your income in taxes than almost anyone of any income stratus anywhere in the country.
State Senator Rachel Ventura was asked how lawmakers could implement their tax measures without driving businesses out of Illinois.
The answer is, how can we not? The economy, it's not going to keep working if we give all of our money away to the rich. That's not our labor force.
Illinois Senate Republican leader John Curran suggested that Governor J.B. Pritzker's budget might further reduce spending on undocumented people. I'm Jim Talamonte.
A 17-year-old boy is being charged as an adult in connection with a shooting last November that injured 7 other teenagers. Police say Demarion Cherry opened fire following the city's tree lighting ceremony in downtown Chicago. Investigators say after that shooting, Cherry fled the scene and later robbed a 38-year-old man who identified Cherry as the suspect. Police say several of the teens injured in the November shooting also identified Cherry as the shooter. Authorities say Cherry was shot in the chest himself late last month. While he was hospitalized, police say Cherry admitted to the November shooting. He's been ordered held in jail without bond as he awaits his trial. News is a service of the Will County Freedom Caucus. Celebrate America's 250th birthday on February 15th at the Crystal Grand Ballroom in Lamont. Hear U.S. Senate candidate Don Tracy, gubernatorial candidates Darren Bailey, James Mindrick, and Ted Dabrowski. Get your tickets today at willcountyfreedom.com. A check of the roads is coming up in 2 minutes, but it's time now for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank.
I'm Charles Payne, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Stock futures turning higher with Wall Street hoping for a happy ending after a volatile week. Investors have been weighing worries over the scale of artificial intelligence spending. G-maker Stellantis announcing a $26 billion hit after a slower take-up of electric vehicles than it expected. Around two-thirds of the costs are for canceled vehicle platforms and products. Those charges are the largest yet reported by automakers, including Ford and GM, related to bad EV bets. Toyota's chief executive stepping down after a relatively short term in office that was hit by President Trump's tariffs. The company reporting a 43% drop in quarterly profit. 57-year-old chief financial officer Kenta Khan will be promoted to CEO. That's effective April 1st. That is your Fox Business Report. I'm Angelo Bavaro, investing in you.
Make sure that you never miss a day of Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft when you subscribe to the Chicago's Morning Answer podcast, presented by Signature Bank. Listen to the entire show each day on demand with limited commercial breaks. You can subscribe today for free at 560theanswer.com and click on podcasts or search for Chicago's Morning Answer on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Making the switch to a new communications and IT company may seem like a big ordeal, but if you're not getting the reliable support, consistent internet, and secure solutions your company needs, meet Access One, your local Chicagoland IT experts. Access One has been powering Chicago businesses with secure, reliable IT solutions for over 30 years from our headquarters right here in the West Loop. Whether it's VoIP phones, dedicated internet, managed cybersecurity, cloud backups, or 24/7 support, Access One is here for you. Serving thousands of companies from Naperville to the North Shore, Access One is Chicago-owned and Chicago-run, a trusted IT partner for law firms, clinics, tech startups to manufacturers. We'll make the switch easier than you think. Let's talk. Call 800-654-1555 or visit accessoneinc.com. Rated top 5% in customer satisfaction and a Better Business Bureau A+ rated business. That's accessoneinc.com. Tech made personal locally.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-809-7171. That's 800-809-7171.
Progressive Commercial knows truckers can expect the unexpected when driving, but a little heads up like this would still be nice.
Hey there, Big Rig. I'm driving the hatchback ahead of you. Heads up, at the next light, I'm going to stop right in the middle of both lanes, and you won't know if I'm taking a right or going straight. You know what? Me neither. Over.
Be ready for the unexpected and save on the protection you need with personalized discounts. Get a quote in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, covered subject to terms and limits. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Sue Aller. Jam-packed right now on the northbound side of Lakeshore Drive between Bryn Mawr Avenue and Hollywood Avenue, and then you're packed on the Bishop Ford inbound between 103rd Street and the Dan Ryan. 33 minutes inbound on the Dan Ryan from 95th to the Byrne Interchange. Outbound is 12. Stop and go inbound on the express lanes between 51st Street and the Stevenson. You've got 43 minutes inbound on the Stevenson from Veterans Memorial to Lakeshore. The Eisenhower is 31 minutes in, 18 out from Wolf to the old post office. 16 minutes all around on the Edens from Lake Cook to Montrose, and the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Byrne Interchange, 21 minutes, outbound is 10. This report is sponsored by King's Hawaiian Sliders. Nothing brings friends and family together on game day like delicious King Hawaiian Sliders. Bring them to the big game day table and be their real MVP. Pick some up this weekend in the bakery or deli section of your local store. Football and King's irresistible Hawaiian Sliders, there's nothing like it. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now the latest forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Today, we will see a bit of snow in the morning with accumulation ranging from a coating to an inch. The day will be mostly cloudy and breezy with a chance of freezing drizzle. This may lead to a slippery morning commute, especially in the northern regions in northwest Indiana. The high temperature will reach 37 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. So, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent took the Scott Bessent show from the House on Wednesday over to the Senate on Thursday and had exchanges like this one with a Maryland man, Abrego Garcia's BFF, the good Senator Chris Van Hollen.
You used to believe that tariffs would increase inflation and prices. Isn't that true?
I wrote that in a letter to my investors, but a year before, I also wrote that I thought Senator Warren would be the Democratic presidential nominee. Okay. So my predictions have been bad. Have been bad.
Okay.
I mean, he's just got a million of them, that Bessent. Okay, first of all, that inflationary prices would be higher. Speak of the English, Senator Van Hollen. So here's the thing. Rather than pretending that a tariff isn't a tax and it's not a bolt-on to the price consumers pay as companies pass through taxes to consumers, basic stuff. Rather than pretending that, just say, look, again, what the president did is use tariffs and America's economic strength as a cudgel to beat down trade barriers. So tariffs in a vacuum are inflationary, but tariffs used for the purpose of creating a more free trade environment, lowering tariff barriers, are not. Why is that so hard to understand? By the way, Abrego Garcia, BFF, and the whole rest of them, just as I said the other day, talking about Bessent's performance in the House, all of you phonies up there who never saw a tax increase you didn't support are now wringing your hands about a tax that you've previously supported when tariffs were imposed by someone in your party, just for the purpose of protecting industries. And some of that is being done by Trump, too, but not with a larger play of leveraging our strength to bring down tariff barriers across the globe. So why don't you just spare me? It's the same as you people talking, you phonies talking about Second Amendment rights when you're talking about Alex Preddy, when your entire careers have been spent trying to ban guns, railing against the Supreme Court when it held that the Second Amendment is an individual right of self-protection. So why don't you just spare me your bull jive moralizing? That would have been so much. I mean, I appreciate the quips, but I'd like to just put it between the eyes, and I hope more people will do the same here, of these, rank hypocrites. They don't care about tariffs, and they don't care about your individual right to protect yourself. They just care about being reflexively anti whatever Trump is doing to provide red meat to their mindless, voracious base. That's it. For more on this, pleased to be joined by Jim Perry, CIO of Perry International Partners. James, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. James? Do we have James? There he is. All right.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you now.
Okay,
all right.
Sorry about that.
You don't have to talk.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. You don't have to talk about the politics of this, but talk about the economics. What's the street's view? You talk to all these high-flying financial types and high-net-worth individuals. What's the street view of Scott Bessent?
Good question. I think it's very favorable. I think Scott Bessent's a really, really smart guy. I listen to everything he says. I think he and Marco Rubio are probably my favorite cabinet members. And I think, I'm gonna like Kevin Warsh as well. But Scott Bessent's a smart guy. He worked for Stanley Druckenmiller, and he knows how to make money. He's got a lot of credibility on the street. Yeah, right. I think Bessent's a good guy. I think he knows what he's doing, and I think he's probably the smartest Secretary of Treasury that we've had for a long, long time. I'm glad he's there because he's shepherding a ship that needs sort of some clarity after about 10 or 20 years of not having any.
So this week in the market, what is the sell-off after Anthropic seemed to make a breakthrough in the AI race with respect to some of its capacities to replace, possibly replace popular software platforms like Salesforce? What does that tell us about the where the how volatile the market is going to be with every new development of any seriousness in the AI race?
Right. Another very good question. Anthropic is a very good company. I don't know if you use AI as much as some people do or I do, but it's probably 10 times more clear and precise with answering questions than stuff that was around a month ago. So every month or so, there's a new company that has a new version of AI, and it's better than the next by a factor of 10, right? So, Musk comes out with one, Google comes out with one, Microsoft comes out with one, Meta comes out with one, Amazon, and now it's Anthropic's time, right? So I think that the version of what they're doing in AI is exceptional. It's taken leaps and bounds beyond something that was there a month or two ago. Yet, and it's making the market nervous. The market has been so nervous. I was out to dinner last night and talking with some people. There's about 6 of us. And everybody is so bearish, so nervous, so worried about what AI is. And we've heard this for 2.5 years now, right? And I don't know if it's because this is how it's being marketed or it's got a fear level to it because there's an unknown to it. And there are people who say, gee, this sounds scary to me, and, humanity is going to suffer from all of this. And I get all that, and it's on every headline on every newspaper every single day, right? So you can't. But the point is that I actually think I'm not as nervous about AI as a lot of people are. I think the job growth situation is a typical example. Everybody thinks we're going to lose, tens and tens of millions of jobs. Yet here we are. with the largest labor force ever. So, if that's going to happen, let's look at the data and see that it's happening, and then we'll have a discussion about it. Until then, why are we so nervous about things we don't understand? And if you don't understand it, take the time to learn what's really going on out there.
Bessent got into an exchange with Raphael Warnock from Georgia yesterday about the manufacturing and where exactly that is. And the indictment handed down by Warnock is that there have been 72,000 manufacturing jobs lost in the labor force over the last year. And Bessent says, well, look, I mean, we've got what we have is we're on the cusp of a manufacturing renaissance as the onshoring is happening, as the investment is coming. So it's not there yet, although I talked to a lot of small manufacturers. A friend of mine who's got a steel fabricating firm in Will County, and he said, I can't bid any more jobs. I'm running 3 shifts to 20, I'm 24/7, and I can't keep up making plates for John Deere and Caterpillar equipment and so forth. But anyway, that's just anecdotal. But Bessent's larger point was, 72,000 jobs down, according to the bean counters who say so. But the manufacturing renaissance, we're on the cusp of it. Is that something that you concur with?
Well, on the cusp of something like a manufacturing renaissance is a bit of a stretch. You have to remember that manufacturing jobs in this country sort of 50 years ago were almost 50% of the jobs, right? And now, I don't know what the exact number is. I haven't looked at manufacturing, but it's sort of like 11% right now, 10%, 12%, something like that. So the point is that this country doesn't really manufacture much anymore. And the reason for that is that, all of these corporations have said it's better for our shareholders to not manufacture things here, reduce our costs, have it be done in China, and everybody's happy, and then I can retire wealthy. That's been going on for 20 or 30 years, 40 years. And the fact is, we realize that there's a risk to that. So, is there a manufacturing renaissance happening right now? I think the trend has changed. I think the trend has turned. I think that you'll see manufacturing get up towards, 15% in the next 2 or 3 years. But the idea that manufacturing is really going to change here because of the tariff situation, I think is kind of, I would be, how can I say this? I would like to see it before I believe it. How's that?
Yeah, I mean, maybe a bit. Right? Well, also, maybe, jobs, just sort of the jobs as the metric is the wrong metric. I mean, you can see onshoring or development, expansion of some manufacturing sector, some of the sectors within manufacturing, but it's more the productivity, the national security interest. There are other metrics besides just the aggregate number of jobs in a particular sector.
I agree. And, I give credit to sit there and listen to some of these guys because they really want to listen to themselves speak, and they really don't. Of course. They ask silly questions, because they have that right, I suppose. But the point is, I think where we're going on manufacturing really is going to be automation, right? So, your listeners will know that there's a Stellantis plant out toward Rockford, Belvedere, right? West on Highway 90 from the city by halfway between here and Rockford. And it's up and running, right? And it's been closed for a long, long time. But the fact is that it's mostly automated, right? It's mostly robots. And I think that if you can get the manufacturing that we need in this country that is implemented with a smarter software, artificial intelligence, and machines that know how to work, I think you're going to see a manufacturing renaissance in this country that will be productive, and it'll keep the country safer because we'll be able to produce the things that we need to without being dependent upon a rival that doesn't have our best interests in mind. And I think that trend is coming, it's changing, and I think it's for the better. And it's one of the reasons why the stock market remains, Dan, within 2% of its all-time highs here in February, before the Olympics started, right? Before they started today, right? So I think the stock market's in pretty good shape. I think investors recognize that slowly but surely things are getting a little bit better in here, And
you said in your recent video that you are overweighting in tech and defense for a reason. What is that reason?
The revenues that these companies are generating, the profit margins that these companies are generating, and the profits that these companies are generating have never occurred in the history of economics around the globe at this level. You've got trillion-dollar companies whose revenues are increasing by 30% a year, all right? Think about that for a second, right? Mm-hmm. The revenues in the infotech space are averaging 30% higher than last year, right? These stocks are selling at 25 and 26 and sometimes higher than that earnings. But the point is, the corporations that you can buy around the world for putting your money at risk, where it's safer with a safe dollar, rule of law, and that the generation of the return on investment, you cannot find that in Europe. Companies like Nestle, great companies, they're not growing, right? Japanese manufacturers, they're not growing. Chinese exporters, they're not growing. Here, innovation, productivity, and technology are bringing revenues to some of the biggest, most innovative companies in the world, and I think it's going to keep happening. You wouldn't know it by looking at the news. It's scary as heck out there. I was on the phone all day, every day this week saying, what do I do? What do I do? And I just say, hold on. We're 2% from an all-time highs, and revenues are growing at 30%. Profit margins are running at the highest level in history, right? 13.2%. And net income, profitability in the high-tech space and defense space is running at 20 and 30%. You can't get those kind of numbers anywhere else in the world. So from that standpoint, it seems like a no-brainer, right? Follow the data. Look at what you see out there that's on a comparative basis. Recognize the dollar's pretty firm. The country is in a stable place. Interest rates are low. 10-year treasuries are at 4.20, right? They haven't budged all year, right? Inflation is coming down. True inflation, the number that we saw was out from the government last week, it's below 2%, right? So AI is going to reduce the inflationary impulses of the country. Lower taxes bring more money to the pocketbooks of consumers. Deregulation is going to increase a productivity boom. And when you move $1 trillion from public sector, which is the government, to the private sector, the stock market's going to do well. So I would say, look at the data, ladies and gentlemen. Don't listen to the news on the radio, and recognize that there's a lot of good things going on in the country, and it's probably going to be going on for the next couple of years.
Don't just do something, stand there. Yeah. So that sort of is a perfect lead into, the other tumultuous market events in the last week, which is the spike in precious metals, and then the drawback, and then of course Bitcoin dropping under 70,000. And so what are the people that you talk to and advise? What do they, and maybe especially those that were high on crypto, are they still, or are they now seeing the standards like gold as a hedge on inflation?
Well, let's. There's a lot going on there, a lot to chew on. I'll start with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is trading at 66,000 today, right? It's up a little bit today, but it was at 126,000, right, in October. So it's down by 50%, right? That's the biggest downtrade that we've seen from these high levels in a long time. And Michael Saylor, who is probably the poster child cheerleader for Bitcoin, runs a company called Strategy Inc., which is kind of a treasury company. That stock was a $500 stock 4 or 5 months ago, right? It's now at 100, right? So it's down by $400. The crazy thing is it's the same price that it was 2 years ago, right? So again, everything's kind of got a relativity to it. Bitcoin is a tricky security. I do not own any now. I have in the past and made a little bit of money. I didn't make enough of it. I didn't even put it in the professional account for the company. I put it in for me, my wife and kids. But it's hard for me to see that it's anything other than a sort of a painting in somebody's house. It's a sort of a modern painting. What's it worth? I don't know. It's worth what anybody wants to pay for it from you, right? So to me, I would rather have gold, right? You know what it's worth and you understand it. And the gamma squeeze that went on with gold last week at this time, Thursday, Friday, and Monday, is not a surprise either. And I think I think what makes a lot of people nervous, to be honest with you, is that there are elements and there are intended people in the world who are trading things at levels with computers that people don't understand. The idea that there's 4 times as many call options on gold options than puts, and that the leverage on it is at 90 to 1. There's no physical delivery of gold. And gold goes up 65% last year and then 30% in January. And then it dropped by 25% in 3 days, right? And then kind of goes back up again. People kind of look at those moves and go, I don't understand what the world is doing, and I don't know who did this. All I know is that my gold price went up $1,000 for 3 days, and then it went down $1,000 for 3 days, and now I'm right where I was. So the point is that there's a lot of high-frequency trading and a lot of – I don't understand who owns all the copper in the world or the coffee or the gold. But I do know that if you just think about it as a hedge for what's going on out there, the dollar is doing fine. I think it's going to remain the world's currency for a long time, reserve currency. There's a shortage of them out there in the world. And I got probably 3 calls yesterday saying the U.S. is uninvestable. I am never going to buy a dollar again. What is your president doing? What is wrong with you? You want to buy Greenland? You're getting everybody infuriated with you. And I just say, well, let's just see on the news, and it's being implicated. But the point is, if you're going to sell the dollar, what are you going to buy? What currency are you really going to buy? Are you going to buy the euro? What a piece of junk, Are you going to buy the yen? That's worse. Their numbers, monetarily speaking, from, deficits and debt numbers, they're 200% worse than ours, 300. China, that's even worse. And then you go further down that and say, well, let's talk about sort of Russia and Brazil and India. You say, good heavens, I'm not going to put my saved money in a currency like that. So I think the dollar is going to do fine, to be honest with you. If I was a rich guy that, sold oil or coffee or cocoa beans or something like that, and I had a little extra money and I was in a country that was unstable, I would open up an account at Northern Trust and put money into the bank in this country and probably buy the S&P 500 because it's the safest place where my money could go. So I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. And even though there's some senators and some congressmen who are going to bark at Scott Bessent, goofy about whatever they're going to talk about, that's part of the free market and the free speech of this country, which is a risk, but you have to allow those voices to be heard, right? And even if they sound stupid, they sound like idiots, they have the right to sound stupid. And that's politicians are going to do that forever. So let's just let them do it, but don't take them too seriously.
James Perry, founder, CIO of Perry International Capital Partners. Jim, thank you as always. Good stuff. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan. Enjoy the weekend and enjoy the Olympics. Bye-bye.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait for those 2 actors from the gay hockey movie to bring the torch in. Looking forward to that.
Curling. Watch the curling.
Watch the curling. Okay. Jim Perry joins us at Chicago's Morning Answer.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-809-7171. That's 800-809-7171.
Progressive Commercial knows truckers can expect the unexpected when driving, but a little heads up like this would still be nice.
Hey there, big rig. I'm driving the hatchback ahead of you. Heads up, at the next light, I'm going to stop right in the middle of both lanes, and you won't know if I'm taking a right or going straight. You know what? Me neither. Over.
Be ready for the unexpected and save on the protection you need with personalized discounts. Get a quote in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Covered subject to terms and limits. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
AM 560. The Answer.
Open mic! Open mic Friday! Call it now!
Yes, that time of the week and the Friday show. Open Mic Friday, 312-642-5600 is the call-in and text line to give us a call or text with your comments, compliments, concerns, criticisms. General crack pottery, we will take it all. And I just want to begin before we get to phone lines. Well, the putty-faced thugs like that West Chicago mayor have claimed another one. Chicago Tribune reporting that West Chicago PE teacher who had the temerity to post on social media, "Go Ice." That's it. And made West Chicago an unsafe community, threw the village up for grabs in the school district. I can't send my kids to that school. Why? Okay. He has resigned after he was placed on administrative leave pending a full investigation. What is to investigate? Pending a full investigation, he was placed on administrative leave. The District 33 board announced during a meeting, those commissars, last night, it had accepted the voluntary resignation of Gary Elementary School teacher and would be entering into a separation agreement with him. The flack for the local commissar, State Senator Karina Villa. Schools must be places where every student feels safe, respected, and supported. That sense of safety depends on trust. Sickening. 312-642-5600. If you want to offer any of those categories of content I mentioned. Rick in Downers Grove here in Chicago's Morning.
Hey, good morning. Being you have your finger on the pulse of what's going on now, have you heard anything about like these protesters putting out like a best of album, maybe with a poster so we can enjoy these songs and visualize these people for decades to come?
That's a great idea. Thanks for the call, Rick. Maybe I'll do it and I'll profit off of their work. I wonder if they've got that all trademarked. That's a good question. I mean, I'm sure Kifnis. Maybe I could do some sort of collaboration. Yeah, like the old K-Tel records or your old mixtape, but with just leftist protest ditties. That's a great idea. I like that. Glenn in Orlando.
Yeah, good morning, Dan. So this weekend is the big Super Bowl, and a lot of people will be watching, but the people that won't be watching are the people that were killed by the illegal immigrants. I'm wondering if the NFL is going to recognize those people that can't watch it because their life was taken too soon by evildoers.
Well, I don't think you have. Thanks for the call. You're right about that, Glenn. I don't think you have to wonder very much about whether the NFL is going to recognize angel families, or any professional sports league would recognize angel families, or any sanctuary city or state politician will recognize angel families, even if they're their own constituents. Ask Joe Abraham if Governor Pritzker will recognize his daughter Katie, for example. The other Rick, Northwest Side.
Oh, morning. Thanks for taking the call. I think the late elder Mayor Daley, he had a great question for these warped, arrogant, revolting, punk deplorables, and that is, what trees do they plant? Because they build nothing. They steal, kill, and destroy.
That's right, Rick. Thanks for the call. Text from 312, you had Jim Carrey and Wilt Chamberlain on today. Was that a joke? I had Will Chamberlain on, because Wilt is dearly departed, and I had Jim Perry on. Am I not enunciating? But just from Rick in the Northwest Side, yeah, they build nothing. All they do is tear down. They're and live parasitically off the production of other people. That's right. This is another classic right here. This is an instant classic. want to make sure I get to this. This is the neo-Marxist everyman. This looks like a 20 or early 30-something slob, overweight slob. It'd probably be, a mayor or a governor in New York City or New York State in 10 years. But this is the everyman, neo-Marxist everyman. He could just as easily be an overweight, limp-donged neo-Marxist slob in Chicago. This is who they are, right here. The cri de coeur of the limp-donged, overweight neo-Marxist slob in big city America.
What do you say to this folks who say, well, if you tax millionaires, they're going to leave the city, and the top 1% pays 40% of the taxes in the city, so what happens if they leave? What's your response?
Well, that's what I would say. It's like we should take their business, and we run it like for the city ourselves.
So if they take their business to Florida, you feel like you can make it, keep it here?
I mean, they can't leave the building. They can't, just bring their whole entire workforce to Florida, right? They can't bring all of, the resources that they have to, build the business here to Florida, right? That's a whole thing. And that's where you would even say, if we're building a real movement, right, to, stop that, we'd also, make it illegal for them to, actually, leave, right? We would fine them to hell if they're going to try to, abandon their property here, right? Because clearly people do need to work, right? People do need to, make a living, so...
Insert your own comments, reactions there. I feel no need to say anything more on the topic than the accurate description I provided in advance of playing that clip. Bob Waukegan.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions here. The guy saying "Go Ice," do they realize that's ambiguous? He could be saying "Go Ice," or he could be saying "Go Ice." The people are stupid who ran him up the river. Second thing is, will Bad Bunny sing all in Spanish for his halftime show, which will be a slap in the face to all of us who speak English? I don't mind if he slips over one or the other, but if he keeps it all in Spanish for the whole thing, that's another NFL slap in the face. And I have an acronym for you. It's called IDIOT. Ignorant, dude, impotent, obdurate, temperamental slanderers.
Well, that's good. That's a mouthful, Bob. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. It's hard. It's hard to recall that one quickly, to compliment awfuls. But I appreciate the top flight vocabulary words that comprise that acronym. I'm more interested in this Bad Bunny. What kind of ball gowns, dresses. He's like a cross-dresser, isn't he? And yes, so yeah, I'm press 2 for Spanish, the whole thing in Spanish, but the outfits, please, Bad Bunny, don't have a wardrobe malfunction. Jordan Antioch.
Morning, Dan. I sent in a text earlier in the week regarding this lawsuit with this detransitioning girl or boy winning the suit.
Yeah.
And I guess my question is, and I think the answer is wait and see what happens if there's a case brought, but in your opinion, I guess is what I'm looking for. What are the chances? What does this offer remedy, or now that, like you said, the floodgates are open, right? We peeked inside Pandora's box on this. You got the dad out in California who's, the dad in California whose kid was taken away by the ex-wife and then transitioned. Now, let's say this kid decides, hey, I don't want to be this anymore, and you guys push me to do this. Is there a remedy against the state, against the parent, against the school district? We live in a state, right, where you can do these things without notifying a parent. What is the exposure to these people, in your opinion, that a case could be brought, litigation be brought against them for harm?
Thanks for the call. I think that, it's very case specific. It's an important jury verdict, the $2 million award there against the doctors that this minor said essentially misled and pressured her into a mastectomy and this transitioning. So it's important, but of course the the facts are these cases will be fact specific to make out essentially an IED case, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and perhaps other torts under civil law. But it's certainly going to, and it has already, the combination of what the action Trump has taken at the federal level, and a case like that is going to have these chop shops masquerading as children's hospital, like the one in Minneapolis, pulling back because now those same attorneys who were essentially feeding them, allowing them to feed on their own ideological disposition with respect to quote unquote gender affirming care. Now they're going to be saying, well, we got real exposure here. And, hospital administrators, councils for doctors groups, they're going to be pumping the brakes. I'm sure of that. But in terms of more causes of action coming, you can bet there will be more because so many young people have been so harmed by these mutilations that were basically predatory doctors seizing on this social contagion to harm children. And the fact that there was parental consent given, whatever the well-intentions were, it was a dereliction of your parental responsibilities. I don't know that insulates doctors who were predatory with children and parents, frankly. So you're going to see more because of that jury verdict in New York. Brian in Lansing.
Morning. I just wanted to say about the tariff situation that basically the Democrats have been hypocrites. I mean, they get all this money from union labor, and all the jobs have left this country. I mean, we're talking textiles and everything. They should be for Trump's plan to have the tariffs and to bring American jobs back.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Brian. Mm-hmm. Bob in Rogers Park.
Yeah, my son got a text saying he was in violation of something from the DMV, and he has to pay up or else they threaten him with nasty stuff. So he texted back to them, "This is Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE final notice. As per U.S. law, CNSA 237, blah, blah, blah. You have 24 hours to leave this country or we will process your arrest warrant. You will be sent to prison and or deported, subject to a fine, and you will be forced to listen to Chuck Schumer for a period of 1 hour."
All right, very good. Thanks, Bob. Owen, Willowbrook.
Hi, Dan. Hey, Dan, I think this Sunday I'll get more out of watching 30 minutes of Bugs Bunny than Bad Bunny. And as Bugs would say about Roger Goodell, what a maroon.
Yeah, what a maroon. Roger Goodell, very concerned about the lack of black coaches because there were no black coaches selected to fill the recent vacancies, after the season.
I think we need to continue to make progress, and I believe that. I believe diversity is good for us. I think we have become a more diverse league across every platform, including coaching. But we still have more work to do. There's got to be more steps. So we're reevaluating everything we're doing, including our accelerated program, including every aspect of our policies and our programs, to meet the challenges of today and tomorrow rather than yesterday. So we need to be looking at that and sort of say, okay, why did we have the results this year? What is it that we can be doing in training or education, and that goes for not just the candidates but also the clubs, and how we can try to continue to increase the opportunities and the outcomes ultimately.
I mean, that's as good identitarian gobbledygook as you get from any leftist politico, isn't it? What the hell are you talking about? These are the same owners that hire black coach. Yeah, I hire a black coach. I'm great. I fire a black coach. What's the problem over there? Performance? You know? Just the nature of the carousel that is the coaching profession. I mean, it's just remarkable to listen to. And we're supposed to take that seriously? Because half the country is so, approximately, hopefully it's still a little bit less, it's just so given over to sentimental bilge like that. It's pathetic. Especially when you're talking about the last true meritocracy in the West, which is what you can do on the field of play. And it doesn't matter what your color is or who your dad is. But it gets polluted by hacks like Roger Goodell. Pathetic. Ay. Dan in Salem, Wisconsin.
Hey, Dan, I go to the McDonald's pretty much every morning and have my coffee there. But anyway, I got Trump on my ball caps. I write it with that cloth tape. I use it to put Trump and MAGA on my sweatshirts. And this one conservative lady, she's like freaking out. She's like, Dan, you know, these left-wingers, they might try to hurt you. I heard that they're doxing even people that support Trump. You should take that off. They might try to hurt you or do something bad. I said, that's what they're trying to do. They'll never silence me.
There you go, Dan. Thanks for the call. Tim Berwin.
I've got a companion acronym for you for the awful.
Okay.
Socialist, identitarian, male panderers.
Socialist, identitarian, male panderers. Simps. Awfuls and simps. Not bad. Okay. Thanks for the call, Tim. We'll put that, in the mix. But I got some weekend to work, dude. I have to call that list to get down to a couple that we choose from and launch next week. We have to hear from our poet laureate, Chicago Morning Answer poet laureate, Joe from Arlington Heights.
Good morning. You played the commercial from the NFL. I had to sit down and quickly write a poem. This is the National Fools League by Joe from Arlington Heights. Oh, great NFL, we must look to you to learn what we surely missed in school. Self-righteousness you're eager to share, but your leftist hypocrisy is everywhere. Fools make themselves the morality police. White supremacy, the real danger they teach. Claim to be the arbiters of society's values. Accusations of racism, one of your favorite tools. Open the doors to the dregs of humanity.
It's not brotherly love, but insanity. Just so politicians can become millionaires overnight, while the leftist media with them won't fight. It's their evil motives they seek to conceal, using free speech as a sword and a shield. But the society revolution is underway, no matter what the Democrat leaders say, screaming about
saving democracy just to hide their incredible hypocrisy. To replace private property rights, Marxists relentlessly engage in ideological fights. Do you see what's before your eyes? They shout their truth, which is full of lies. It's the alliance of many evil clans which threatens freedom's future for man. So all the morons look to jocks for what is right, capitulating to lies without a fight. But it's Western civilization they won't see fall. Hey, at least Bad Bunny will entertain us all. And that's the National Fools League by Joe from Arlington Heights.
Very good, Joe. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Text from 352. Why doesn't Goodell step down and give his job to a man of color? Well, he would. It's a great question, 352. He would, but he's leading the charge for people. You see, he is representing all the people of color and other, identitarians that comprise the great diversity that Roger Goodell is concerned about implementing. He's at the tip of the spear. He's doing the work. You don't want to interrupt a man doing the work for all of those downtrodden, marginalized communities to ensure proper representation. Please, don't get up. He'll do it for you. White man's burden. Roger Goodell is whatever we come up with as the compliment for awful. That's Roger Goodell. Lou, Western Pennsylvania.
Hey, Dan. So if I don't like somebody because of their skin color, I am a racist.
Uh-huh.
Therefore, if I don't like somebody because they are violent, would that make me a violinist? And
Hi-oh.
my second one, if I like and follow Dan Frost because he is a good, decent man who cares about my happiness, does that make me a profiteer?
Okay. Okay, Lou. All right. Brother. Well, I mean, in for a penny, in for a pound. The Prime Minister.
Perspicacious profiteers we all are, I say. Roger Goodell, I hear, is investigating and considering initiating a suit against the population of birds over their anti-diversity policies because those birds of a feather will flock together. Now, the NFL football helmets that say end racism and all those other silly things, it reminds me of Mark Twain's great quote, "You cannot depend on your own eyes when your imagination is out of focus."
Ooh, that's
And
deep.
lastly-
Deep for the PM. Very good.
Thank you. We try to be deep. The governor is all chips and no shoulders. I was feeling sorry for myself because I had no shoes, but then I felt such shame as I saw a man who had no waist. The governor of the state of ill. He's launching an ESP perfume. It's a mind-controlled air freshener. If you think about it, it makes sense. Thank you, Dan Prost.
All right. Very good, PM. Thank you. Carrie and Wheaton.
Yes. Hi. Maybe somebody's already said this, but speaking of the NFL, why isn't anyone focusing on evening out the ratios of black to white football players?
Mm-hmm.
Just curious.
Yes, the underrepresented honkies. That's right. Thanks for the call, Carrie. And making sure, under the category of black, just like under the category of white, there are many ethnicities. I mean, what's the distribution there? Let's really dig into the numbers to make sure everything is reflective of either the diversity of America or some sort of super standard of diversity that Roger Goodell comes up with. Oh, we absolutely should obsess about this. Get into the weeds on it. Joe in Chicago.
Hello, Dan.
Hey, Joe.
No, this is Ed. I'm sorry.
Oh, Ed. Okay, Ed, don't call me Joe.
Hi, I have a question. My daughter, she's in middle school. She got a text last night. I found it kind of strange from one of her friends saying that they could have a protest against ICE in a public school, and they're allowing the kids to get out at second period, obviously to miss class, to make posters and send cards to politicians. Is this legal since it's a public school and they're supposed to be taxpayers are paying for this and they're allowed to attend this versus go to class and learn?
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's probably a colorable claim you could make to seek injunctive relief to prevent such a thing. But I would make it more my point to gather some parents together and show up at a school board meeting or call the administrators and say, I'm not on board with this. I mean, that's how it has to be essentially hashed out. You're not going to, I don't think it's worth litigating these things in a court of law. I think you litigate them in the public square with respect to the people in charge of your school, administrators, teachers, your school board members, and rally some parents. I mean, that's where the battle needs to be joined, in my view.
Okay. I mean, I don't know how many parents I'll be able to get on board, but I was thinking of calling administration. Obviously, it's happening now, so it's after the fact, but I'm thinking next week I was going to call the principal and talk to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, look, one person can make a difference, and go to a school board meeting and have your say. And, and film it and post it, and we'll share it. I mean, that's we need more people stepping up, and people need to know there are people out there that will, like yourself. So I appreciate the call. Good luck with that. Thanks, Ed. Byron, Western Burbs.
Hey, Dan, great show. I have two things, not particularly funny, but just interesting in a way. Did you hear about the citizens complaining about the immigrants moving in? It's in Mexico City. It's Americans moving in. And the immigrants said, go home, gringo. And I just thought that was kind of contradictory. The other thing is, according to the Mexican newspaper, Mexican immigrants send $62 billion a year to Mexico, and it's the largest line item on their GDP. So they have more money than what people think they have. Thanks.
Thanks for the call, Byron. Yeah, well, I mean, that's one of the things that has been discussed. It was discussed by DeSantis and others with respect to remittances from foreign countries, to foreign countries from Americans here, from people in America, including people here illegally, and what to do about that. Well, let's close it out with Chuck from Delavan, Wisconsin.
Hey, thanks for calling out my band's name, Pumping the Brakes. That was really nice.
Okay.
Come up to Wisconsin and see the snow sculptures. They're still here. So come and visit Lake Geneva and, walk around and hold hands and feel like you're in love. You guys have a great...
Okay. With no one in particular. Walk around, hold hands, and feel like you're in love while enjoying the ice sculptures north of the Cheddar Curtain. Thank you, Chuck. One more offering on the male analog for awfuls. Mice, male impersonating communist eunuch. Not bad, 815. Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for joining us, for tuning in, for offering your comments and insights and comedy. We appreciate it all. Have a great weekend. It is now 9 o'clock on AM 560 WIND Chicago.
This is a Fox News alert. A bust related to Benghazi. I'm Dave Anthony.
If you commit a crime against the American people anywhere in this world, President Trump's Justice Department will find you.
Attorney General Pam Bondi moments ago announcing an arrest in the 2012 attack at the U.S. consulate in Benghazi, Libya, that killed 4 Americans, including Ambassador Christopher Stevens.
Zubair al-Bakosh landed at Andrews Air Force Base at 3 a.m. this morning.
He faces murder, terror, and arson charges. No person of interest on day 6 of the search for Nancy Guthrie, kidnapped from her Arizona home over the weekend.
This is Cameron Guthrie. I'm speaking for the Guthrie family. Whoever is out there holding our mother, we want to hear from you. We haven't heard anything directly.
The FBI confirms there is a Monday deadline and ransom notes sent to TV outlets. Another deadline for the Guthrie family passed yesterday.
The FBI and Pima County Sheriff announced a significant increase in the number of investigators trying to find Nancy Guthrie and whoever took her. The FBI has brought in a critical response group from Quantico. They have a team processing social media evidence and phone and digital footprints. The sheriff says law enforcement from around the state is either here or on the way.
Fox's Alicia Cunha outside the Guthrie home in Tucson. The U.S. and Iran held indirect talks today in Oman, mediated by that country's foreign minister. Fox's Greg Palcott is monitoring.
Not clear how much gets decided today. The Trump administration came in with maximalist demands of getting rid of all of Iran's nuclear enrichment program, plus the vast stockpiles of potentially dangerous nuclear material. As for the Iranians, they appear to have a more minimalist approach with the blessing of